Welcome back to Junior Gold Finals. This is the final round of qualifying before match play. I'm sitting here with a superstar, Kelly Kulik.
Hi, Doan. Pleasure to be here.
It's fun watching all this young talent out here throw.
It's amazing. Their level of expertise and what they can do with the bowling ball, both one-handed and two-handed, is simply amazing.
Right now we're sitting here in front of, U15 and U20 finals?
Correct. Young gentlemen are in front. Looks like they're bowling on a medium pattern, heavy volume. There's best estimate.
There's definitely a lot up front. Boy, these young kids are talented. It's amazing watching them bowl.
It really was. I was reading a compliments to John Janowitz, who did the lanes at one of the centers this week, and his post was really kind of unique. He said, all the kids, all the boys throw better than the father. They have more hand than their father. The education that they have about the lanes and the technology at the age of 12, 15, and 20 is far more advanced than I was at the age of 30. And the talent here is truly amazing. This event keeps growing more and more every year. And the amount of bowlers that come in with their skills, absolutely fabulous. Inspiring.
It's certainly amazing. You know, I just wonder, as far as, are they learning all this knowledge from going to camps, from bowlers, that went through different programs? Are they catching some of this on YouTube, on Facebook? What do you think?
That's a very good question. We recently had our Team USA camp at the International Training and Research Center, and I told Rod Ross, I said, the amount of talent coming out right now, I said, it's your fault. And of course, I said that jokingly. Go back into the mid-'80s, early '90s. Fred Borden was still around. USBC was really establishing themselves. The international coaches were coming over here to learn about our techniques. Then we started going over there, learning about their techniques with the Malaysian coaches in Singapore. Korea, obviously, with their sponsor federation and their program. And we learned more about the technology. So the coaches, we all learned from each other. Then you had all the programs, USBC bowling, Dick Ricker bowling camps, clinics on the side hosted by local professionals. Norm Duke and Brian Voss had their teaching techniques. And now more and more professionals have their own clinics. So these kids now with the internet and USA Bowling Academy on the internet, Google, of course, you have a question, you just Google it, and a YouTube video pops up of a two-handed ability or how to make a single pin spare. So the amount of information at their fingertips alone is simply amazing. But, they surround themselves by it. I also want to think that, Tiger Woods had a lot to do with this as well when he father put a golf club in his hand at the age of 2 or 3, and these kids started bowling at the age of 3 or 4, learning how to do it two-handed and keeping that technique alive. So now the kids focus mainly on one sport as they're growing up, and as we have here, their bowling is their main activity. So a lot of things to credit the success and success of all these kids.
Yeah, I agree. Their exposure level is just absolutely amazing. I remember, growing up, we'd always sit and look at theory. Well, we think this, we think that, and whatever, like layouts or, playing lanes. Now there's scientific data to truly back it.
Absolutely. With Storm Bowling Products, of course, and Rotogrip and everything, we have the technology at our hand, and, you as a ball rep, you as a sales rep, you get to see the balls go down the lane by your league bowlers, by your professional, your highly skilled amateur bowlers. You read ball motion, ball surface is so crucial these days. So the amount of information flooding back in our direction and your direction alone just makes you that much more sharper and that better detailed to recommend a bowling ball to somebody.
Agree. And what really gets me more than anything else, and Kelly, you can attest to this, how important is it having your surface match up?
Oh, it's 90% of it. 90% of it. They say bowling is 80% mental, 20% physical. When it comes to bowling balls, mapping them out, surface is alone the biggest key. When you see a lane pattern, regardless of the distance and the volume is going to tell you where to play on the lane, and the volume tells you how much surface you can use. So granted, if it's a higher volume, you can use more textured Abalone pads, 500, 1,000, depending on your rev rate and ball speed. That's where you have to match it on the scale alone. The rev rate and ball speed are crucial, but surface, it'll keep you in play, it'll keep you out of trouble. I'm a big believer of flat tenning more than going through the nose for a big 4 2 8 10.
Oh, agree. That one single pin's a lot easier to pick up.
Exactly. But yeah, nowadays it really is. What's your surface? What's your surface? What's your surface? You know what it was like walking in a pro shop? Oh. You drilled a shiny one on the shelf. You go out, you shoot 700, 800, 300. It was great. Now it's, well, at the factory it was 500, 1,000, 2,000 Abalone finished with 1,500 or polish on top of it. It's really, it's like knowing the inside of your car. You don't just turn the key. You got to know when to change the oil, when to rotate the tires, how to maintenance it. Same thing with the bowling ball.
You know, I find it amazing, you know, sitting hanging out in the shop this year and last year, listening to all chat amongst each other. They're talking lane distance, they're talking pattern distance, they're talking volume, they're talking ratios left to right, and they're also talking as far as surface preparation and also flare management, which I think is very unique.
I didn't know that at 12 years old or 15. Heck, I didn't know that at 20 years old. Yeah, these really. But listen, if you're going to be good at something, you need to understand it and be educated about it.
Absolutely. They totally understand the science of our sport. No question about it.
The only thing bowling is so challenging in my eyes, not so challenging, but the variables are constantly changing. Because now you have 8 people on a pair and you're bowling with 7 people, you bowl different from the last round. So the lanes are going to break up differently. And some of it is hypothesizing. It's an educated guess of when to make those moves. But from bowling on the men's tour, all the tour ups would say it's better to make the 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 move and leave the 2-pin than go big 4 through the face. So it does come down to strategizing and being a little bit intelligent about how to make the moves and when to do them, and then really just trusting that you made a good delivery.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of urethane going down the lane still.
Certainly do. In your eyes, do you see urethane more of like moving the oil around instead of trying to break it down per se?
I would definitely say so. In my international competition with urethane, you play the front and the middle more with urethane than you do the back. You're not going to see that big U-turn. So it does tend to go away, but it's fractional. It's really minor to much that you don't see a huge difference. But these gentlemen now with the high rev rate of 450, 400 plus, they rely on it and they explode the pins when the ball hits. Yeah,
it's definitely a necessary tool in your bag. I was talking, Wes was up here earlier today, and he made a mention that he likes throwing urethane for a spare ball, and he has. I think he mentioned he is Supernatural.
Yes, he does.
And so he adjusts the surface on that and so on and so forth. That's an interesting concept. Back in the 90s when the ladies were out bowling, a lot of them would actually take their polyester ball and surface it, because if not, when it hit that big puddle, it would push off and it'd be so inconsistent. Any kind of minute carry down, the ball would read it.
Yes. Yeah, no, I would agree. My first experience bowling on a short pattern, I actually had a polished, shiny plastic ball and then a dull plastic ball. One was for spares, one for and until I realized what the surface did, I realized I only needed one, and that would have been the dull one.
Back in the days when I used to use polyester, we'd have 1 polyester, 2 urethane, and a rubber ball when we bowled in college.
Well, you hear stories about the girls bowling on the ladies' tour, and maybe somewhat in college, when they would take a polyester ball, they'd put a big weight hole on the side, 1.25 inch weight hole, 2.5 inches deep, as much as they could, and they'd play the gutter. Yep. And that was how they got the ball to read the lane. And trick drillings like that come along the way. You said so yourself, just being a little bit more creative with your drillings and your weight holes especially.
Absolutely.
If you're on 18, you're moving to 24. Guys, if you're on
Let's see.
Is there any estimated cut scores?
Well, the U15 boys cut from 75 to 16, so they're going to bowl 5 games and then drop to those 16 boys. Same for the U20 girls, they cut from 119 to 64, and then those 64 is going to go to 16. U15 girls are at 32 right now. They'll drop to the top 16 after they bowl 5 games. And the U20 boys, we're at the top 64 right now. They're going to cut to the final 16 after they bowl these 5 games.
So do you have anything coming up here in the near future to bowl?
Yeah, the ladies tour, the Professional Women's Bowling Association, this is our 2nd year back. And this is a break for us this weekend, hence why I'm here. Kind of nice to see the youngsters come out and compete. But after this weekend, all the girls are heading to Houston, Texas for the Lucy Benoit Doubles. Big charity event run by Donna Connors. Does a wonderful job every year to host that event, raise money for a wonderful cause. And then from there, we're going to conclude with the Women's U.S. Open in Addison, Illinois. It's up in your territory area. So we're very excited. We have only about 95 entries signed up right now. We're hoping that number increases. We had over 240 at the Women's Queens, which was very exciting. And then the top 16, all the girls that won titles this year, and then the rest down the field to the top 16s in points will include at the Players' Championship in Midlothian, Virginia.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to attend the Lucy. Even back in the day when when I first started repping on the tours, I mean, that tournament was just starting to take off, and it's just built momentum. The touring players actually put that in their schedule to go ahead and compete in the events. So it's almost like a tour event now.
It is. It is. It's recognized. It won't be. You won't receive points for bowling it, but you are recognized that as a tour title for both the ladies and the gentlemen. So, yeah, it continues to grow, and every year I get the text message from Donna saying, you know, did you get your entry in? Did you get your entry in? Because they're going to shut it out. They went from 2 squads now, or 3 squads. They're at 4 squads, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and she has just done an amazing job to grow that event. Hence why Tom Clark wanted to include the PBA, and then USBC and BPA wanted to include the PWBA. So it has growth and support from all areas of the industry alone. And I know Storm is one of the major sponsors. We're so grateful.
Yeah, we're very proud to be a part of that event.
As well as all Turbo, Vice, and all the other companies that turn out to support that. Everybody knows it's a great cause. Shannon O'Keefe she's I think won it the last 2 years, or no, let's see, Missy and Scott have won it. Shannon O'Keefe has won it with Bill O'Neill and her husband. So I'm partnered up with Chris Colella this year. I'm looking very forward to bowling with him. He's another Team USA player that made the team a few years ago. So I'm very excited to be bowling with him.
That's excellent.
Well, we're underway here with
Certainly
the U15 and U20 boys. I just want to say that if I was Michael Kors or any of these fashion designers, I'd take notice to some of their accessories and their fashion design, how they're wearing their clothes. I see a beautiful pair of bright yellow pants that I would not look good in. You know, gentlemen, their personality really shines through their clothes that they wear.
Spencer's got himself a nice little outfit there.
He does. It's like he stood there and someone just threw paint at him. Nice big paint spotter. So well presented. It's nice to see the kids taking, you know, more of a professional look to themselves.
It's almost like Mr. Troop went ahead and painted that for him.
Now, the one gentleman you pointed to, Henneman, is that his name?
Oh, Hansen?
Hansen, yes. Did you know that he was the collegiate singles champion this year?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I was commentating when he won that event. Freshman in college, and he took home the singles title.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting down talking to him and Mr. Marshall Kent yesterday, and he's a very nice young man, very quiet. Doesn't really he doesn't really brag about his bowling very much. You have to ask him a lot of questions. Extremely humble. And I think he gets that tutelage from Marshall. That's definitely Marshall's MO. He's a very quiet, humble young man. It's interesting seeing all the young kids come around and you know, talk to Marshall. You know, seeing that, you know, he was, you know, basically brought through the ranks here at Junior Gold, and that you know, he's done very well in the event here.
Yeah, Marshall is good, is now, and will continue to be a great ambassador of our sport. The talent, what he can do with a bowling ball, I sit there with my jaw almost hitting the floor, how good he is. It's so impressive. But again, he's lived the college part of it, he's professional life of it, traveling the world to bowl and compete competitively. He's got a few titles under his belt already, and I just see him winning more and more as he gets older.
There's no question. No question. He's definitely Hall of Fame material.
Yeah, and he went to a change. Did you know he went to a grip change?
No, I wasn't aware.
He recently went to a Sargee
Okay.
type drilling. So he feels like it tames down his rotation a little bit, but he feels like he has more control with it as well.
Okay.
So, and you know, at the age of 24, a change like that is fairly simple to make when the ligaments and tendons are still agile, and and the amount of practice time on the lane is easily comes. I have to point out, Doan, I'm seeing more and more two-handed bowlers. Would you agree?
Oh, I agree 100%. You know, it's funny you say that because, like, during our matchmakers we do, first starting them about 7-8 years ago, you'd see an occasional one here and there. Now it's not uncommon to do an event, have 30 people show up, out of the 30 have, you know, 5 or 6 and be two-handed. It's
Wow.
not uncommon at all. And you know, from going over to the Storm Fair over in Japan, you know, now they have a part of the fair focused directly towards the two-handed players.
Yes. Yeah, Japan is going all two-handed this year. And we're still waiting to, I'll put this out there in public, we're still waiting to find that young lady two-handed next
Superstar, yep.
Superstar, yep. I will say that our anatomy is slightly different. I don't know if that contributes to it or takes away from it. Our biological makeup, I should say. But there's going to be somebody out there within the next, you know, 5 to 10 years, I'm sure, as a young lady will be.
Oh, there's no question. Absolutely no question.
Two-handing, yep. I've learned a lot about the mechanics of it this past year after taking the silver certification course. And what I learned, and I don't know if this is true or not, but basically there's really no push away. It's just where the hips rotate so that the elbow can come back, and really where the trigger is, not the elbow to come backwards and not so much wrap around the body, but just to make sure it comes straight back and to continue to follow through. The biggest thing I see is their back lean at the foul line tends to be a stronger degree of angle, more like 50 or 60 degrees like Belmo and Osku, because they're generating so much power in their lower body.
I asked Jason, as far as, coaching, two-handed compared to, as we can call conventional style. And he said it's very similar except for just, a couple things. And one of the points he mentioned is like a push away. If you watch your two-handed players, most of them push up a little bit, and that helps them gain momentum in their swing.
Sure.
Because they don't have a thumb on the ball to help, guide or, create that hand to coddle it. So by having that, it allows them to go ahead and get some swing in their or momentum in their swing.
Yeah, the big key for them, too, is in their footwork. It's just trying to get past the ball so much that they can generate that power with their lower body and their legs.
Yep.
And if you watch, Jason, obviously the best at it, he starts up right in front of the second row dots, so it's not like he's running to the foul line. It's just where the ball is in the swing and where his body gets past is where he's able to generate that power, and the finesse he has. There's not a word to describe it, because on Katz and at Kegel, when he's been tested, it just repeats, and he's got such a touch.
Oh, he's honed his skill to no end. Comparing him and Osku, you can see where they go through their power step, and Osku sort of jumps through it.
Yes.
And Belmo walks through it.
Yes, he does. Osku is just physically stronger, too. He's the Popeye of bowling.
Yeah. The Ivan Dragoff.
Yeah. I will break you.
Both of them very successful, and it's pretty interesting because you can say almost like the cranker type of a power player, and Belmo's more the finesse player.
And Belmo's had a few more titles than Osku, but Osku has so many more international titles right now, and what he's accomplished is just they both match up on certain environments, and they both have their own mechanical way of doing it.
Remember a couple years ago during a Storm Fair when he was throwing a house ball for a spare ball.
Yeah.
And flickering. It was a Brunswick A2 pin spotter. He hit the back of the machine so hard it kept on shutting off and turning back on. I was just trying to cycle through. Incredible.
Yeah, Osku is a special breed.
Yes, he is.
Well, here we have this pattern now, Doan, and I see multiple angles of being attacked towards the pocket. You have guys that are playing deep in the lane. You have one lefty and another righty playing near the gutter. So I would definitely say it's more of a medium pattern for sure, because that's where you get the multiple angles from. And please note that these young gentlemen, I'm sure this has been said, but they're only allowed to check in 5 bowling balls for the week. They're allowed to change the surfaces before the start of each block and in between each block if it's WTBA rule. So there is some manipulation with the equipment that they have, as we would have an international competition with Team USA. But here I see urethane going down the lane, reactive resin. So, yeah, definitely multiple angles, and it'll be interesting to see how the transition goes after game 1 into halfway through game 2.
Well, a young man down here named Jordan, he's playing in real deep and trying to open the back ends up. And then you have Mr. Hansen over here, and he's trying to take urethane and shove it right up about 10. I see a couple of young men playing further out. They actually have a good ball reaction. So there's definitely multiple angles to be played here.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that. Usually the median patterns are somewhere around Athens, Atlanta are 2 of the median patterns. I have to look it up on my trusty device to even see, but as a Team US member, you should think I would know all the patterns off the top of my head. Sadly, I cannot recall. It's silly of me.
I'm so used to being called off by distance and loads, as far as, the years I used to be out with the guys a little bit. So I haven't, the foggiest, I hate to say, and I'd be the first to admit it. They walk up and during a matchmaker, what do you think of a blah, blah, blah pattern? Well, what's the difference and what's the side-to-side ratio, Yeah.
Well, here's a good question for you, Doan, being a past tour rep, and you still rep from time to time when the guys are close by. When you're in the practice session with the gentlemen prior to the start of the tournament, what do you think they look for? Do they start near the track area? They start right to left and try that? Do they go to their A game right away? What would be a good guideline for these youngsters to really know their arsenal and where to start on the lane?
Well, actually, to be fair, to compare the guys and girls, you know, back in the day, the rev rate of the guys are so much higher. Usually the volume up front's a lot more. So generally, when the ratio is a little bit flatter, they'll play a little more outer up the track area and try and keep it nice and tight. If the pattern's longer, it'll force them in, but they tend not to try to give the pocket away too much.
Okay.
When the ratio is a little bit more spread out, going left to right, that allows them to create a little more around the lane. With the ladies, they don't have so much angle to the front part of the lane. They're very parallel. I always like to consider the ladies more like the average male bowler. Because they like to play the lanes a little bit the same way, a little more up the lane and keep a little more in play, where a lot of these bigger-handed guys tend to want to get in, and they have to create angles at the front to get the ball to create distance. Like, if you compare like a lot of these young bowlers here, a good share of them actually have a pretty good rev rate.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely not weak-handed by any means.
I would say the average amongst at least U20 is somewhere in the 400, 450 range. Would that be accurate?
I'd have to agree with you. I mean, after looking at this young talent pool here, I mean, there's some good players.
Yeah. Well, as I pulled up the median patterns, I'm going to guess it's Montreal, 41 feet, because guys can play to the right, the young gentlemen, and they can play in the middle a little bit. So I'm going to guess it's somewhere around the Montreal area, about 41 feet, if I had to say, because you're able to play 10 a little bit, even though the hand's still there. That would be my guess. I wouldn't say it's possible it could be one of the long patterns, one of the shorter long patterns, but not really sure. That's my guess.
Well, I will definitely take your word for it.
Ha! If I'm wrong, there goes my training. It's out the window. She calls herself a professional. A lot of service playing at the gutter on the left-hander. 8 out, 3 bagger. And fundamentally, I mean, they've got good timing. Not many kids are I call you guys kids just because, you are younger than both of us sitting right here. But, solid at the foul line. They've got that post-finishing position.
Absolutely.
Again, just accreditation to our coaching right now, and all over USBC, local clinics, Storm clinics. I know when you work matchmakers, you give pointers.
Always,
work with individuals.
always. Just very simple stuff. Nothing that's too hard that people can't comprehend. Most of it's just usually alignment, maybe slight timing things.
Sure.
Just really basic little tips. It's so easy on a house pattern to get yourself out of whack. Obviously, you got that big puddle in the middle, and that allows you to have more room for error. But on the other hand of it, as far as executing good shots, is not really necessary because it sort of feeds itself to the pocket. So.
I'm really not sure some of these youngsters know what a house pattern is anymore.
It's funny you say that. Talking to some of these youth, we do our matchmakers, even just doing pro shop calls. Most of them tell you that they don't want no part of bowling a house shot, that they look to bowl a sports pattern.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be challenged, which I think is excellent. Just watching little Pete Vargas over here bowl. That's actually one of Randy Peterson's proteges.
Oh, yeah?
He has, and I could be wrong, so I don't want to overstate myself, but I swear that Randy mentioned that he had over 50 300s.
And he's how old?
I think he's 18. That's crazy. He throws the ball exceptional.
What does he eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? What's your workout routine? Please share. As much as the younger boys and girls look to us for answers and advice sometimes, I often go backwards and ask them some questions because their natural ability, they just do it on their own. Simply amazing.
Barbara and Bill Crispin just came popping up here at the booth.
Our bosses. Hi, Bill. How are you? Looking good as ever?
Yeah, I'm fat.
He's not. He's not. My boss just said he's fat. He's not fat.
That was probably on the mic.
Yeah, it was.
You look fabulous. Barbara looks great in her shirt. You guys match. It's perfect.
Absolutely.
Hi, Barbara. How are you? Wonderful
Good.
to see
How
you.
was trip in? How was the trip in?
It's okay. You know, it's just an airplane.
Barbara and Bill Crispin,
No.
two of the greatest supporters in this industry, establishment of Storm products. They always give back to bowling. It's just their efforts are endless in what they do with our sport.
There's some great talent out here today.
I can't believe how good some of these kids throw it. It's unbelievable.
Isn't it incredible?
If you can hear his comment, just making
it's
the comment how young these kids are.
They're so solid at the foul line. They execute shots so well, and they're so knowledgeable at the product lines and how to play lanes. It's crazy.
I don't know, Dylan. We got to be careful. They're coming for my job. I can't. If these are the boys, I need to see how the girls are doing. You know the expression: if you don't throw it good, you got to look good.
I'm telling you.
I got to work on that. Keep working in the gym.
And also, we keep on complimenting them, but a lot of them have custom outfits and custom jerseys, custom pants, and they're just very well dressed, very well represented. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with all these shirt companies out right now, I mean, it's competition for everybody. But exactly right, they're able to put their personality on their back or on the front of their shirt. I'm glad I'm wearing my Storm pin, by the way, because I've got the USA shirt, but I got the pin on, so I'm safe.
Well, that looks excellent. Is there anything recently, as far as with Storm and Rotor Grip, that's come out that you absolutely have to throw, that you really like the way the ball rolls?
I have to say I am very impressed by the snap lock. That latest release by Storm. It's very clean. You can get it to a slow response, as we were talking earlier, shorter. It pins down and everything. Yep. So it's a little bit smoother, and yet at the same time, the pearlized cover of it can really get it to go sideways and continue much in the back. So and I used to never really like asymmetrics so much. I've always relied on the symmetrics to give me that continuation motion. But the last few designs we've come out with, are in the last 2 years especially, the asymmetrics are amazing. Like the lock was the perfect version. You have a low RG, high differential asymmetric bowling ball with a hybrid cover on it. I mean, it gave you mid-lane read as well as continuation in the back. So for the right-handed bowlers, you split the 8-9, same as the left-handers, they split the 8-9. The rocket ship was a nice addition because we always think of high RG stuff. We want pearlized covers, and with the solid cover on that, it's a very versatile ball. I actually told one of the gentlemen to drill it for one of the kids here, and his father was very impressed by it. He was able to use it on multiple patterns, not just medium, but short and long as well. It was just very adaptable with the surface adjustments.
You made a mention about the snap block. We bowled a tournament called the Derby.
Oh yeah.
It's a wooden house, and it's pretty demanding. They don't put a very easy shot down there. And the only ball that could actually really open the lane up was a snap block. It was clean enough to the front and retained enough energy that the ball created nice motion in the back end. A Marble Pearl, one of our old great bowling balls, was close, but it just didn't have enough off the spot like the snap block. And the snap block, there was different styles throwing it. And each one of the bowlers that threw it, the ball just matched up unbelievable. Yeah. And as far as hitting power, it was very incredible.
Well, actually, the tour stop that I led in Kentucky was I threw a snap block. After I came out of the gate very poorly, I have to admit my head really wasn't into it, and I'm still suffering from a slight ankle injury. It's still not 100%. But I went to the snap block in the evening. It was a shorter pattern, and I was able to go left and just kind of, I had friction to the right, I had a little hole in the middle, and it just suited my A game, and the ball just opened up the whole lane for me. So I'm really excited. I have watched some of the ladies. I did not drill one myself, but Lindsay Boomershine, who just made her first telecast, and she actually led the event last week in Seminole, Florida. She threw the two new balls. She threw the Wreck-It on the fresh. She was able to play around the track area, 12 or 13. And then when she needed to go another ball, she actually went to a stronger ball, which was the no rules. So, and it's great. I like the colors of the ball too, Don, because as I say in some of the other telecasts, the colors migrating down the lane will tell you that ball motion.
It certainly will. You can watch that pattern go around, and you can easily see the ball go through transition.
Yeah, and with the green and orange colors that the no rules is, I mean, those vibrant neon colors really shows you the tracking of the ball motion going down the lane.
That ball looks incredible.
It does.
Usually your solid balls tend to want to lay off in the back end. Obviously, you throw solid when the backs are strong and the fronts are really tight. You get the ball to go through, a earlier transition, which caused the ball to be a little smoother in the back end. And I had to say I watched Wes throw it at during Bowl Expo, we had a manufacturers-wide demo day,
Okay.
or matchmakers we call it, and it cracked me up because he comes back and he's giggling and he said, I can't get the ball to stop, you know, and he kept on going deeper and he threw it further right. And, Jason said the same thing. You know, as far as motion-wise, he said this gives me the opportunity where I can use my versatility to get the ball to different tricks. And some of the staff shined him, some of them kept him dull, and it was really the highlight of the event. I mean, the ball was thrown by quite a few people, so we really got a great ball coming out there.
Yeah, and what you mean by that is the ball it never slows down. It just wants to keep going, and like the engine in it is so strong, meaning the core side, that it doesn't want to slow down, which is good because for an asymmetric ball, if you can play 20 and deeper, it gives you the whole lane. It just opens it up so much more.
Oh yes.
I do know all the Singapore girls love the rocket chip. They came out right during the Queens at the end of May, and every one of them I think went home with at least 2 of them in their bag, a pin up and a pin down.
I had a conversation with Hank to step back on the no rules a little bit, and Hank is still the lead designer on all of our bowling balls.
Okay.
And it's a cross between like our X Factor line in a way and the original cell.
Yeah.
And the cell had the continuation, but the ball being smooth, and the X Factors are known to be lengthy and really angular off the spot. It's a combination between both, and the way it's designed, it just does not stop. It's an incredible piece of equipment. For someone who might not be a rotogrip fan, this is a ball that's a must-have. You need to check it out. It's a good ball.
And of course, the Wrecker is still in the catalog. So come out with a Wreck-It is just an advancement of our technology.
Oh, agree.
Hey guys, it's Tavio.
Yeah.
I got somebody in the comment who's asking a question, if you guys know. Jordan's asking, how's Wesley Low doing? I have not heard anything about him. Last I saw, he made the cut, but now I'm not sure. You guys know?
Yeah, right now Wesley's at 3rd going into this round.
Sweet.
So he's doing
having a good
very,
day.
very well. Yep.
Yeah.
And really, he's only a mere 40 or 50 pins off first place lead. So Wesley is still in the action.
I just seen him walk by here. I don't think he's within our vision as far as where we're sitting, but I seen him just walk by, and he was walking further down to the higher end of the house. So
nice. All right.
Considering we're on 60, that's only a few lanes away, but it's 80.
Yeah, he's only 58 pins out of first, so I'm sure he's going to make his move now as things get tighter and tighter within the field itself.
Boy, he's an excellent player. I had a chance to watch him at the Masters this year. Very impressive. Very impressive. Very humble. Doesn't let his emotions get carried away. Executes shots very well. Very patient.
We need more kids like him. I like that word, humble.
Aw, thank you.
Aw.
Somebody's a Tavio fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, feel free to
Bowler
pop us some
skills.
questions. I
Yeah.
can't make it up all the time, so.
Any questions that come in, I'll filter it through you guys.
Oh, thanks so
Okay.
much. Yeah, still single, looking to win the lottery or husband, either one, not in order. I did say that on national television, so we're safe there.
Yeah. It's only a few people listening.
Oh, sorry, almost saw the kid make the 710. Almost saw me jump out of the seat. I still get excited when people make that. Nowadays, you shoot 300 and you get the 3 or 4 claps in the area. It's still exciting. I'm sorry, 12 strikes in a row is still challenging.
Oh, guaranteed. That's why you hear people say, well, I shot 850, 860. You're still looking at having to strike 30 plus.
Yeah.
You have to carry 30 plus times.
I know.
You yourself, you've bowled on some patterns that have been very gifting, very soft.
Yep.
How many times have you struck, 30, 34 times?
Yeah, not as many as I'd like. And my first 800 was actually on a sport pattern. It was in Arizona. I do remember that.
Whoa!
That was nice.
The old trip the 9-pin forward. Oh, must be a score correction here.
Waving the flag.
Yep.
That's what they do in international competition too. There's usually a flag or some indication to note the scorekeeper. I have to say, along with the clothing styles, I like the hairstyles too.
All right, so we have some more questions.
Okay.
One, are bowlers moving lanes after each game, or are they just staying on the same pair for the duration?
They certainly are. Do you know what the ratio as far as move is?
I do not. I apologize for not knowing the rules in advance, but the gentlemen here that there was only 4 in a pair already moving through the next pair. I'm sure it's a big leap, skip 4, 5, or 6 pairs.
Normally that's what they do. They try and get you to skip bays.
Okay, I have another one.
Okay.
Are the boys bowling on different patterns than during the week?
It would
Well,
be
at USBC this year, or Chad Murphy and his team, they decided not to go ahead and let the patterns out. So we're sort of in the dark, but on the other hand of it, I think it's a testament to the tournament, and I think it's a great idea. Instead of looking online or looking on a piece of paper and getting
Being all
some
prepped
distance.
up and ready for it.
Yeah. So
much
you got to
more
come on
spontaneous.
out. You have to execute. You got to read your ball reaction to get your feet in the right part of the lane. I think it's great.
But all the patterns they use in qualifying, they're using in this continuous rounds.
Yes.
So there's
yes.
nothing new from qualifying into this.
Yes.
Into these rounds.
Matter of fact, it's so secretive. I was teasing one of the guys from Kegel, and he made a mention that USBC actually locked them out of the lane machines. They don't even know what the lane pattern is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, USBC and the Open Championships, with the rules they designate it now, it's starting to fall down within the ranks itself. So these young gentlemen, as they move up, there's not going to be any big change. They're already experiencing what they're going to experience 5-10 years from now.
Yep. They're going to go ahead and put the same plan as far as the USBC this year. They're not going to tell the distance and the volume and the pattern and stuff.
That is correct.
As a competitive bowler, I like that. It gives more of the opportunity. We have to go on out and learn how to read ball reaction and line up, and you might read them wrong, so you got to go ahead and just make whatever adjustments necessary and just get through it until you can figure them out.
Well, I would say the biggest advantage of knowing what the pattern is just gives you a better idea of what equipment to bring to each event.
Agreed.
If it's a short pattern, you need some 2-inch pins, you need some more aggressive service balls that are slower responsive, to whereas a longer pattern, you need later. So it does give you an idea of what type of equipment you can narrow down to bring in your arsenal.
It certainly does.
But the graph itself, I mean, when you look at the dark blue spots and what it is, the end of the graph will tell you kind of the area or the tip of the iceberg is of where you need to be. But still, it comes down to ball speed and ball style. If you have a rev rate of 250, you're not going to start out playing 20. You're going to be near the track area more likely. Whereas you have the opposite reaction, high rev rate, more ball speed, more aggressive stuff, you might be able to play deeper inside. So it still comes down to the style of the player and the ball that's in his or her hands.
Certainly, certainly. The most important thing is just the distance and as far as the ratios left to right.
Exactly.
When the ratios are very narrow, it doesn't let you give away that much. When the ratios are a little bit wider apart, you have more room left to right. And depending upon the length of the pattern, will tell you how far you have to play in and essentially how much flare to use.
Yeah, the ladies tour, we tend to bowl on, lower ratios, 2-to-1, 2.5, 3-to-1 at the most. So they tend to be a little bit flatter for us, and that's why you see more of the straighter players having a lot more success on tour than more of the hook-type players.
Yep.
If their ball speed is firm and they have really good axis rotation, 45 degrees, their ball just is so smooth going down the lane. It sees the front to the back very, very smoothly and clearly.
So I have another question. Who's leading in the U20 Boys and the U15 Boys? You guys know?
Yeah, Jared Armstrong right now from Louisville, Kentucky is leading the U20 Boys event right now. And the U15 is Richard Paul III out of Winton, California. He's averaging 198.9, so almost a 200 average.
Thank God Kelly's here. I don't have my glasses.
It's the the blind leading the really blind.
So we had even more requests on commentating on what's going out on the floor. Do you guys have any?
Sure. Right now the scores seem to be fairly low. I haven't seen many 200 games. Again, because of the variety of angles the players are attacking them. One gentleman is on a 240 pace over here. We're right through lanes about 61 to visually be able to see through lane 70. So we can see about 5 or 6 pairs or so. The scores are relatively low, and that's what I've heard mostly during the week. Listening to the Storm guys that were here early on said 150, 160. and that was for all the age categories. So, well, to give you an example, though, under the U20 event for the boys, first place is at a 225 average. So, and if we go down to the cut at the top 64, we're at a 204 average in the 64th position. So a difference of 20 pins just from 64th to first. And the U15 boys division, Richard Paul III was leading with the average of 198.9. The cut score was 32nd at an average of just around 184. So it gives you an idea of what the scores were like all week long. And that's for 21 games so far. So that's impressive for 21 games.
It definitely looks like that you want to play a little more parallel now, and you watching a few of the guys are actually having some good success, are throwing more urethane.
Yeah. See Hansen, he's on a three-bagger here. He's throwing urethane, as Don was saying, he's piping around 10 or 12, just trying to keep the ball in front of him.
He actually started out playing a hair bit further right, and he's actually moved in a little bit. He was crossing like straight up 8, and now he's moved in more like around 10, 11 out to, about 8, 9, somewhere in there. Just a touch of belly for, as far as what he's playing on. In doesn't look bad, but I think it's sort of fishing you a little bit, sort of, dealing that carrot out there, wanting you to jump in a little bit too soon.
Yeah, I have not bowled here in Western Bowl in a very, very long time. I'm familiar with Expo, Woodland, and All-Star lanes, and I could tell you, sometimes the carry's better in certain places, how the gutters are cut. From time to time, all the lanes are USBC certified for competition.
Certainly are.
But obviously, there's always that hit. There's a light hit that carries. There's the heavy hit. Twister pins always make it challenging. But our Brunswick Pro Anvil lane surface that the gentlemen are bowling on right now, which is characteristic in almost all the centers they're at.
Yep.
Seems like flush and light is a very good hit right now.
This is the final round 2 match play. Is that right?
Yeah,
Correct.
they go into match play, yes.
And just to give you an idea, I know we're watching the young boys here right now, but on the other side, the girls, the U20 division, Julia Bond is leading. After 21 games, she's averaging 206. Cindy Bromett on Team USA right now. I've had the privilege of crossing with her in a previous event. Very good player, very good head on her shoulders. But 64th place for the U20 girls, averaging 182.
Young man just went ahead and threw a shot on 64. He's playing a little bit further right, more like right up straight up 6. And it's definitely urethane. It picked up early and is laid up at the back end.
Yeah, he's on a 250 pace right now.
Nice look. Sometimes what happens on these patterns are a little bit medium. When you start jumping in too soon, there's not enough oil carried down through the middle, so you don't have anything to push the ball to the spot. And if you try and square up on it a little bit, the ball tends to hook early. Or not want to say hook early, but come off the pattern and tend to want to hook because it has so much more of the lane as far as covering before stabilizing. If you go away with it, and all of a sudden the ball wants to hang on you a little bit. So it's definitely a little sensitive.
Yeah.
But they are. Go ahead.
Oh, well, like you said, with rotation, like it makes a huge difference how the ball comes off your hand, how it controls front to back.
But they're slowly opening up, and it won't take much longer, and the lanes will be opened up a little more inverted, and you'll definitely see a different group of bowlers prevail as the lanes start to open up.
Absolutely. By game 3, you're going to see a lot more left to right for all the right-handed bowlers.
Yep.
A few lefties that we have in the field tend to play right near the gutter or near just outside the track area. I wonder where Wesley's playing then.
That's a good question.
Soon he'll be in our radar. He has to be. Need our sonar to scope him out. I don't know if U20 is a good definition. Some of these kids look 24.
Yeah, they throw the ball like they're in their early 30s.
I want to see a card. I need identification, please.
Okay, now the high end's starting to walk down this way.
I don't know, you don't. I keep smelling popcorn.
I certainly do.
Sure.
And we loves our popcorn.
Indianapolis is such a great area to have this event. First off, the centers are in a realistic distance of each other. and they're all huge centers. So it just accommodates the needs for USBC. And
they got a nice
and all
size
the players.
concourse, which, you know, it can host a lot of people. And,
Yeah.
And the Royal Pin chain, their staff is phenomenal. Is not even really a fair example as far as how they do their work. They are absolutely great. The staff has been so accommodating and so helpful, you know, to all of us since we've been here. It's
They do a fabulous job.
yeah, very good core group of people. Very good. They just went through some renovations. You know, if anybody's in the area, stop by and check the places out. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in here, and I noticed that as soon as I walked through the door.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this place is beautiful.
Hey, have you guys ever noticed any two-handed girls throughout the Junior Gold Week?
Yes, I've actually seen a few of them throw. They look really good.
I just got here today, so sadly I have not witnessed it, but I hope to see that later on. I've only seen, I've witnessed one young lady in Japan who was starting to throw the ball two-handed, and I think I've seen one girl over the course of a few years that was two-handed. There's one in the Wisconsin. You remember high school state tournament, the 16-year-old two-handed bowler?
She threw it pretty good.
Yeah. Forgive me for not remembering her name. She's probably here this week competing. But I had the privilege of working the Wisconsin State High School event this past season, and there was a two-handed young lady. We're coming. Don't fret. We're going to get there. I can't say that I would want somebody to learn that. If I was teaching them, I believe there's no wrong or right way. You know, I always said that Randy Johnson was criticized for his pitching, and he was still one of the best pitchers, even though he threw it sidearm. You know, all the golf swings, Furyk's golf swing is unique and different. So there is no one right way. The pins do not recognize the skill. They just know how many get knocked over. And the score determines the winner.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see the first two-handed girl to really stand out.
Yeah. Do me a favor, don't come out on tour till I retire. Except for some of us veterans, you know, the average age is in the mid-20s for the ladies tour, which is fabulous. It really, I got to start finding different words because it's great that we see this younger generation coming out to compete.
Well, what cracks me up is even the young group.
Yeah.
There are some two-handed players in there.
Kelly, have you ever tried bowling two-handed?
I have, and it's not pretty. It's very, so, you know, it's just like one-handed bowling. The thumb has to come out first. Well, even with two hands, the front hand's got to come off quicker. And I never want to let go soon enough. So I can honestly say that I would not want to attempt to teach myself how to do it, but that I've tried it, and I could say I've done it, and that's it.
Well, you guys are doing good answering all the questions.
Oh,
So.
keep them coming.
Far away.
It's a nice shot. I like his shirt. Austin. I don't know if that's his name or where he's from. Austin, Texas. Yeah, it's great. It's a great design.
There's a gentleman right there wearing the Chris Schlemmer design, the rotor grip shirt with all the flowers.
Aloha.
Oh, God, that was a bad break. He had such a beautiful game going. He shot 227.
Oh, chopped spare.
Yeah, 3.6, 9.10.
That's one of the most difficult spares to shoot.
Yeah.
I always say I'd rather shoot the bucket than shoot the 3.6, 9.10.
I see that, and I'll be honest, I want to hit the re-rack.
Well, I'd say 8 times out of 10 I'm going to hook at it, except if I'm playing very deep on the lane, then I will take my hard plastic ball and just try to throw it real straight, hit the 3-pin head on so it deflects both into the 6 and the 9. Yeah, not even the men on tour, it's not their favorite spare either.
Oh, it's tough. That's one that you can expect to see a lot of opens on.
I'm a little curious. Some pairs have 4, 4 in a lane, or 7 to a pair. Other pairs have only 4. Not quite sure their reasoning for that, or it's just how the age group was spread out. Possibility.
Probably more of the age group.
So
that makes sense.
So now most of these boys, you would hope, like I witnessed Chris Barnes, I witnessed, Osku, as they're getting ready to move to the next pair, they're actually scouting it out. So if you're making a big a jump as you're going, like say from 69 to 70 to 59 and 60, in between the frames, the gentleman would walk down, see where the other players are playing on the lane, get an idea, strategize. So again, the guessing becomes easier and easier, and to hit the pocket on the first shot rather than having to go through 2 or 4 frames to get it.
That certainly helps, especially if you know the cross ahead of you.
Yeah.
If you have some history with that particular bowler, it makes it much easier as far as lining up off of. It was funny the years out there on tour where they'd get a certain cross, and some of the players would be excited because they knew exactly where a certain bowler would how they could match up off them, and other of them, it's just very difficult because the draw they have or the cross they have just doesn't match up very well.
Yeah.
Which is actually it might be a little redundant, but it's actually very important. Depending upon where you cross in today's type of oils with these with all these new resin balls, they can chew up a lane pretty quick. And if you happen to get the wrong, what the world?
Did you see that? So he left the 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and he took the 2 and the 4, the 2, 4, and the 8 out.
Wow.
Left the 5 and the 7 standing.
That's not very common.
No, it's just how sharp the angle was when the ball, because he looked like he was throwing an Optimus or something back. It was so sharp, it just took the 2, 4, 8 out. Left the 5 and the 7. It's like Ripley's Believe It or Not. I mean,
He came back a little confused. I don't blame him. Young little Ryan Graham's up here. Double up, 142 in the 7th. Good shot. Oh, 4-pin. But that's a makeable spare.
It is a makeable spare. Shannon O'Keefe tells the girls, "I'm lucky when they leave a single. I'm lucky that I've left something I can make." And I started. I worked with a mental coach these last year and a half, and stuff. It's if you start missing them, you just close your eyes. You've made it before. Visually see yourself with your eyes closed, making the spare, and just execute. Your body knows what to do.
It's funny you say that, talking to some of the youth, and you get some questions, and anytime it talks about execution, when you start averaging, even on a house pattern, 210 or above, 2-0 even, you know how to bowl.
Sure.
And all of it is, if you're having issues, is just that, there's a little fog in the air or something like that, just go ahead and go back to your basics and just make a shot.
Yeah. I will say, their timing is very good. Watching these young gentlemen bowl. He's stuck in the lane, Ryan Graham.
Yep.
2-11. Almost a clean game. It's a key here. Just stay clean. If you stay clean, you'll be successful.
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to get out on the patterns and try and hit a home run. You just want to try and keep the ball in control. If you go on out and if you're trying to open the lanes up on patterns that are very difficult, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Just keep it in play, keep it in control, pick your spares, wait for them to open up, then go after them.
Well, I think sometimes as well, like the youngsters, not every game is going to be 250 or 230. There comes a time where you just have to, as Jim Callahan would say on Lay Street, you just want to control the pocket.
Yeah.
9 spare is very good. Like Tokyo, the 45-foot pattern, or Mexico City, the heavy volume long pattern. I'm happy with 190 out of the gate or 2-0. I want to avoid the 160, and I just want to wait till the track area builds up a little bit, till it opens up, that I have something to throw it to. The straighter girls will score a little bit higher in the beginning on, but you know when it's your shot and when you can attack it.
Just want to keep it in play.
Exactly. Shirt. I thought it was Deadpool on his shirt.
Watch young Mr. Pete Vargas here. He's gonna make a ball change. See if he's gonna get. Either that's an IQ tour or he's throwing urethane.
Oh, Black Rhino label.
Oh, it certainly is.
I'm still intrigued by all the ball companies. Man, I love that ours smells good. I know the inventors and Steve Klompkin and all those guys, we tried making a coffee ball. It just doesn't kind of smell like coffee. Coffee and bacon just didn't work. Yeah, don't I think you're right, an IQ tour?
That pushed a little bit, but I think he can get a read on it for the next lane, depending on how his draw is going to be. I find it interesting sitting here watching, where you watch the players come up and you're seeing all of a sudden where they'll like make an errored shot and they'll make an adjustment. By the third frame, they're already striking. So they're going from one pair to the next, catching this cross, figuring them on out, and now they're in control of the pocket.
Yeah. Again, just their education.
Yeah, and it just doesn't come overnight. I mean, these players work hard. And any player that came here, I realize, we're just getting ready for our final cut. But if you sit and look at it, 3,400 bowlers, they had to win to get here. So, I mean, you're looking at 3,400 bowlers that are representing their state, their region, their hometown here as far as 3,400 of the best young amateur bowlers in the world.
Yep. I like the flower shirt. Just throwing a haywire down the lane. Do you have a favorite storm ball of all time?
Well, remember back, it was 2004 when we won the World Team Challenge?
Yes.
I still love my ace. I still love my X Factor.
I love that design of the ball, too. It was a great logo. Yeah, X Factor was. I was going to say, when you mentioned that earlier, I said that had to be one of Weber's favorite balls. He made a lot of shows with that ball.
Yeah.
I recall that, too.
I also really like the Marble Pearl and the High Road an awful lot.
Yeah. Every time I go overseas, the two balls that are always in my bag are an IQ Tour and a High Road Pearl.
Yeah.
Those two definitely go because the IQ Tour gives me a real clear read of the lane, regardless of the pattern. It's either not going to be enough or it's going to be right or needs a little bit more. It's that benchmark ball. And then the High Road Pearl with the guys.
We have Alicia Kern coming
gets
in.
around.
Hello, Alicia. How are you doing?
Hello. For all the folks out there, that popcorn smell really is like the movie popcorn smell. So I'm just letting you know what you're missing. Well, it's dinner and a movie, so it would be helpful to have popcorn. It's the funny side of Kelly you always don't get to hear.
Our family, whenever I'm home, we always have we call popcorn night, movie and popcorn on a Friday and Saturday. So I'm actually getting a little hungry. How you doing, Alicia?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. Enjoying watching some great bowling here.
Do we have the under 15 or under 20?
Mixture. We have both
Mix?
going through.
We
Yep.
have, yeah.
Any good scores on this pair?
220 seems to be a good score on the gate right now. Scores seem to be a little bit low right now. I am seeing a good ratio of right-handed and left-handed bowlers, though. I will say that. There's like no one dominant side.
No, there's definitely not. I don't know how many more two-handers are left, though. This cut.
Quite a few, to believe it or not. I've seen some lefty two-handers. I know 5 or 6 I've seen already. Maybe 7. Canada kid he was two-handed.
We've seen a lot of urethane being thrown to be starting with.
Mr. GQ,
yes.
Mr. Graham.
Yeah.
How long do we think this is?
Pattern-wise?
Pattern-wise, yeah.
We're thinking sort of medium, right around, upper 30s, low 40s, somewhere in there.
I'm guessing Athens or one of the, shorter, long patterns.
Shorter, long patterns.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Oxymoron in itself?
Makes sense to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ratios left to right, though, don't seem to be very favorable. You can definitely create some hang quick, and if you tug it, it'll definitely jump out of the zone and go through the face.
Just like that.
It's like that.
Well, so medium, anywhere from 36 to 40 feet's medium, 41 above's long, and then obviously anything less than 36 feet is short. So yes, the shorter of the long.
There are some bowlers having success playing out, but they've really got their angles closed down. If they're playing out and they try and go away from it, the chance of washing out is relatively higher, 2, 4, 8, 10.
Really got to keep it in front of you then.
Pretty much. You got to keep a little more parallel up the lane.
Pocket, spare, maybe a strike here or there.
Yep. Well, there's definitely some bowlers that are stringing them together.
Tell you what, the under 15, both the boys and the girls, pretty impressive this week.
There's some talent out here.
There sure is.
We were just talking earlier, we're surprised to see the amount of two-handed bowlers. There's a lot. And they're good.
Yes, they are.
Very good.
I think they have studied maybe Belmo a little bit.
Yeah, he might have had a little bit to do with it.
Just a little.
And you see some of the bowlers that are, I wouldn't, as far as coaching, Jason's so open to helping anybody, as far as two-handed goes. He's really a nice asset to our sport.
Yeah, he is. When I was coaching high school bowling, actually, one of the kids that I had, he was a two-handed, and he wanted to know more about Belmo, so I sent him a message, and anything he wanted to know, he answered for him.
That's nice.
So he was really happy about that, and he learned a lot just from asking those questions. So
he's truly a gentleman of our sport.
Yes, and our sport is lucky enough to be able to talk to the pros like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And ask questions and learn.
Aren't you just spending some time out on tour now this last year?
Yes, PWBA.
Are you enjoying it?
I was. Yeah, actually, I had to take 2 weeks off here. I just had too much going on with everything, and mentally, I needed to
take a break. It's tough on you. I mean, it can take a toll. I mean, you're looking at difficult patterns. You're looking at some great talent out there, and yeah, when you hit that dry spell, it can really mess with you mentally.
Yeah, it did. I needed to get out of there before it imploded.
It's a tough schedule. 14 weeks, which we have next year as well. If you're bowling really good, you want to keep going. And if you have a couple bad weeks or injury or anything along the way, it makes it challenging to say, do I take this week off? Do I mentally, again, try to get myself together and everything? So would love to see another break for us next year, in between the regions at least. Yeah. I don't know if that's schedule-wise, if that's possible, but again, it goes both ways. Again, you're bowling good. Shannon keeps having a great season. She obviously wants to keep going, and then every now and then you just have a bad week or two. It'd be nice to take a break, go home, rejuvenate, regenerize, and come back fresh with a fresh start.
Yeah, definitely. I could see maybe the tournaments, the standard tournaments, and then 2 majors, and then maybe a break, and then go back and do the second part of the swing.
Yeah. But with that being said, we're grateful for the ladies tour being back. We're so excited for the opportunities that's presented to us. All the hosts and proprietors truly have gone out of their way to make us feel like the red carpet is out.
That's nice.
Yeah, last week at Seminole Lanes, the Krause family, phenomenal job. Coors Miller was one of the sponsors. They sponsored the VIP party. Mark and his wife in Detroit, Mark Voigt and his centers, in Detroit, they said they put a host party on for us. All the proprietors, there's not one excluded. We're so thankful for the support. John Lucido in Lincoln, the Socias in Wichita, Steve Cook, and I know I'm going to forget a few. Jerry Francomano in Las Vegas Open, Texas Station. People in Sonoma, Wine Country. Curtis Wood had got arranged that for us too. Lexington, Kentucky, Jason. So I'm really trying to, off the top of my head, and really to USBC and BPAA. Without those two really putting their heads together and putting the task force on to give us the opportunity, they're the ones that were the backbone behind it and really just branched out for sponsorships and everything. So
it's funny you say that because doing sales calls and talking to proprietors, pro shop operators, bowlers. You heard a lot of them say how much they missed the ladies tour, and I know the years when I repped out there, the ladies were really taken in by the public, and it's really nice to see this back out again. It gives the young college girls an opportunity to experience a dream of a lifetime to be a professional bowler, and it gives, because there's so many young talented girls that are bowling junior gold this year alone, that it's nice to have an opportunity after college. They have some place to go and hone their skill.
Yes. I mean, the girls that I know who I've coached told them to take advantage of everything that they can. Get the degree. That's what matters most.
Absolutely.
And the tour will be there.
Absolutely.
We have a huge number of sponsors that are really into the tour, and like Kelly said, the proprietors, USBC, BPAA, can't do it without them. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Smithfield, Nationwide, our
Yes.
two big sponsors.
Pepsi.
Go Bowling, Pepsi. There's so many. But right here, what you're witnessing really is the future of our sport.
Yes.
Young gentleman, Josh Meek in front, left the washout and tripped the 4-2-1 forward. Kind of unique to see. I think we're definitely starting to see transition now. All these guys that were playing straight, the ball is not slowing down, it's continuing, so there's got to be a move coming up for most of them.
Oh, the young man in 65, when he first got here, he was starting to play a hair bit more parallel. Now he's definitely getting in a little bit more.
That was good ball motion right there.
Many of hours spent by these talented kids here.
Well, guys, Don and I are going to head over to the USBC side of it.
Yeah, we actually got. You're going to have a big surprise here. The First Lady of Storms coming in, Barbara Chrisman, and along with Tim Mack, they're going to be doing some commentating for a while.
So
Here's Timmy right here, the pit bull of Storm.
just remember, he's from New Jersey. You live in Indiana, but you're from Jersey.
And here's the First Lady of Storm, Barbara. No, the Storm Queen. My apologies.
Storm Queen.
Queen.
You folks are in for a treat. You've got some other personalities coming in, and thank you for your time.
Okay.
And we'll
Everybody
catch
have a
up
good
with
day.
you.
Here's Barbara.
This is Barb. Whoops. I got to find a place to get to my chair. Okay, here we go. I got my butt on the chair. Alrighty, now what do I do?
Now we just watch bowling and we talk.
Oh,
Your
alrighty.
expertise.
My expertise? I'm not in this caliber.
I do see a lot of roto and storm shirts and bowling balls being thrown though. So that is a very good thing.
That is a very good thing. And, you know, there's a couple of shirts that I'm kind of envious of. I'm like,
Really?
wow, how come I don't have one like that? Or, wow, you know, so it really is humbling sometimes, though.
It is.
You know, that to think it's still unreal. To think where we came from and two dumb kids from Ogden, Utah that didn't know any better. And we went to the bank, and the bank said, oh, heck no, we're not going to give you no money to go up against Brunswick and AMF. What, are you nuts? And I'm going, well, that just made me mad. So,
Prove them wrong, didn't you?
you know what? We'd like to find Nephi Boggs and go find him right now.
I did not know that story. I don't think anybody knew that story as much, did they?
It may have been told,
May have been
you
told,
know, but
But not straight from you.
no, it really was. I looked at this guy and I said, so, in other words, I could buy a motorhome and borrow $75,000, and he says, yeah. But then you'd have the motorhome as collateral, and I'm going, all I need is $25 you know, to buy a lathe. You'd have the lathe as
Yeah.
collateral. He goes, yeah, but then it would be a bowling ball lathe.
Well, I am definitely glad that it all worked out.
Me too. It's been a labor of love, and I was a junior bowler, and I had a card since I was 11 years old. But I probably bowled way before that. And it's funny, I was looking for some things to go give a speech in Singapore, and it was the first women's symposium.
I saw that.
And I guess that they want me to be the speaker for women bowling in the world, at least over there. And I'm, you know, because they don't really know who I am. I've got this illusion.
Oh,
going,
really?
yeah. Shh, don't tell them the truth.
If anybody is listening.
Yeah, just don't tell them the truth. So I was looking through some stuff, and I'm amazed at some of the things that I found of me bowling when I was a kid. And I went, oh, wow. Oh, my God. You should see the picture of me when I won the Queen's.
15 years ago.
Yeah, that's what it was. I had this bouffant hairstyle, and I was the sweatshirt queen. I was the queen of sweatshirts and tennis shoes, and they matched, and the earrings matched. And I had this sweatshirt, and it was all had these snowflakes on it, and I had my crown on.
I want to see that picture. I want to. You got to find that one, Barbara.
Well, it was such an accident. I actually had the flu when I went and bowled the city tournament. That's probably the only reason I bowled
Still
well.
need to find that picture. We need to see that one and get that on the,
Yes.
on the website.
I think we need to talk to Blair here for a little bit.
I've got that picture. We've got that
That'd be
picture.
great.
It's on, I think, well, I know for sure that Steve has it because he did the PowerPoint for me.
We'll
Don't-
find it.
don't.
We'll dig it up. Real quick, we got a question for you, Barb. Who came up with the idea of the scented bowling ball, and what was the idea behind that? What was the reasoning behind that?
Okay. Bill and I owned a industrial supply company previously, which meant we manufactured cleaners and soaps, and we put fragrances. If you really think about glass cleaner, you put lemon or something citrus, something clean to smell. You don't want cinnamon apple in your glass cleaner because you think you're smearing stuff. So we had done fragrances and soaps for 15 years that we had the little industrial supply company. And we were laying in bed one night watching the Animal Planet, and it had all these little baby mammals, you know, with their eyes closed, and they were saying the very first sense that you develop in the womb is the sense of smell, because most mammals are born with their eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only way they can find their mother is by sense of smell. And so I just kind of looked at Bill and I said, can we make bowling balls smell? And Bill went, I don't know, why not? So we just went and got some of our fragrance from the industrial supply company and tried sticking it in a bowling ball, and there you go.
What was the first scent?
I don't know. Bill would know.
What's your favorite?
I don't know. I like anything with citrus.
All I know is based on that story that Barb just told me. I had that feeling of a father-son, father-daughter relationship with the X Factor. Because it smelled like chocolate, okay? And the X Factor, I know, was one of those balls. This is probably back 2002, 2003, I want to think. So that's how far back it went. And I remember putting it up in my swing and into my hand, and the chocolate was a euphoria smell. It actually got me in a good frame of mind. It actually really got me in a good frame of mind. So even when some things were going bad in bowling, when I was bowling, you know, a couple shots didn't go my way, the chocolate smell got me right back into a very positive outlook. So it's actually a very, 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 very
You know, if you
savvy
really,
marketing job on you
if you really
guys.
think about it, that anything when you're in competitive sports, anything that you can do to calm, relax, focus on execution, and if just a simple fact of smelling, setting, going, then it just aids. So yeah, it was marketing, and yes, it was subliminal in most cases, but in many not, like in Timmy's.
Yeah.
But I think it's also so under-recognized as being a good tool in being able to focus and go up and bowl.
I know sometimes it makes my car smell good.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
It's making a lot of cars smell good around the country, I can tell you.
Okay. Quick question for Tim and Alicia. What ball would you recommend for a drier oil pattern, a drier lane?
Go ahead, Alicia, you go first.
We're talking dry, pitch black. I mean, that would be the first one, or even the pitch blue. Oh my goodness. There's so many.
Yeah, I think it determines how the dry is defined. Is
There's
it the
so
dry
many.
defined as a hook spot to the right, or is it the dry defined like the overall lane is dry? You know, if the overall lane is dry and it hooks instantly in the front of the lane, you're going to want something like a match pearl, or even our trusty high road that's been in the line for so long. We've got a great R&D department back at Storm that develops so many different shapes and for every style of bowling. So it's all contingent on where you see the dry. Is the dry to the right? Is the dry to the left? Is it in the front? Is it in the mid lane? Is it down the lane? Obviously, on the shorter patterns, overall in the last 10 years, urethane has been a huge choice. And, we've done a good job at the company of putting some balls in people's hands. Now we've got our pitch blue out that's been really successful as a launch off the pitch black. That's the next step in our technology into tackling the dry lanes and tackling what we feel the bowlers need and what they're missing. So we're always trying to fill those holes. So, but if you're looking for the fronts start to hook a little bit, and you need a little back end reaction on a shorter pattern, your match pearls are going to be pretty good. They're going to be pretty clean through the front, and they're going to be pretty angular down lane. So they're going to be able to store that energy where those other bigger balls are going to pick up a little bit. So it's all contingent on where the dry is determined.
Right on. This is just for me. You work with a lot of the PBA players.
Sure.
Have you seen Jesper throw the pitch blue?
Yeah, Jesper, which is kind of scary. He's obviously one of our biggest proponents of urethane on the Storm and Rotogrip side. He won the major. He won the tournament of champions when a pitch black. And the pitch blue came out, and he feels the pitch blue is better than the pitch black. So he used the pitch blue and won another title in Germany. He won a PBA title in Germany. He won the Euro Challenge in Germany with the pitch blue. So he's had success with both of the urethane balls for some really, really big major tournaments, which is pretty cool, which is pretty neat. So Jesper, being our urethane aficionado, he can tell he's got a pretty good idea because he throws those balls more than most. So he's got a great feel and a great understanding of what he likes to see. And he tells me that he can actually control the pitch blue more than he can control the pitch black, which is pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Which I've seen a number of pitch blues and pitch blacks go down the lane this week. I was able to bounce around. I went to Southern, All-Star. The only place I didn't get to this week was Woodland, but I went to all the other 4 centers during the time, and I saw a number of pitch blue and pitch blacks going down the lane, which is kind of neat. So the kids are starting to understand when to use them, when not to use them. You've got to play the right angles and utilize what that ball is designed for and match the timing of it, and the kids are doing a good job at that. And the coaches are getting better at it as well. So,
Right on.
When I was here earlier in the morning at 7 a.m., we only had about three or four people early. I just want to know, have the scoring pace changed at all? You guys have been here. I had the afternoon.
Has it gone up?
It kind of seemed like that to me. Like the last couple of games, the scores seemed a little bit higher. This morning they were low.
This morning was
low.
here. It was low,
Yeah.
for sure. I know the girls over at where were they? Not Woodland. Wherever the girls under 20 girls, because I know a couple of the girls there.
Yeah, we had the under 15 girls
You
here
had the
this
under
morning.
15, but wherever the under 20 girls were, those scores were really low.
Okay.
Yeah, so they dropped. But I don't know. I think this is gonna this pattern out here. I think is gonna weed some people out. See more.
Barb, I got a question for Barb. Barb, what's your feeling on? And obviously I work with the company, so I have my own idea of it. But what's your feeling on where the youth is at this moment, and kind of where you've seen the transition and the changes in the last couple of years, and where do you think it's going, in what direction? Is it going in the right direction? Is it going in a direction where we think we can grow bowling, or is it kind of leveling out the youth and the college bowling? Where's your feel on that?
You know, from what I've seen, and I've watched bowling professionally and around the world, that I see the class and the athleticism of the bowlers now is well beyond, what I was doing when I was a kid, what I saw my children doing when they were kids. And I think that we hit a low. And I think that sometimes, even locally, that we're still bleeding junior bowlers, but that's where we need to get in as a with USBC and all manufacturers, we need to get those kids back into and the bowling proprietors, we need to get those kids back into the lanes. But the people that are there are doing great. And I think that any time that you get people that are bowling, even if they're just bowling for fun, you get your little 8-year-old, 10-year-old out there bowling for fun. People are competitive by nature. And so you may have some that you lose because of the fun, but you're always going to find that there's a percentage, 10 or 20%, that aren't going to be comfortable just hitting bumpers. They're going to want to get better and not be able to put the bumpers down, because there is just a competitive nature in most of us. I don't have any of that at all, but no. I was working out this morning, and I go in there, and I'm feeling all good about being on my treadmill after my injuries, and I'm thinking, ooh, I'm building up on this. Some girl comes in there, and she starts running, and then I go over, and I'm doing my little, leg lifts for my injured hip, and I look over here. She's running sideways, and she's running backwards, and I'm going, well, I'm not that good, But then I had to realize I'm never going to be that good again. So, yeah, I think it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I talked about it earlier this morning. I thought that there's a generation gap, and I'll let Alicia talk about it, because Alicia, you've been fortunate enough to be a great coach at the college level, and what have you seen in the changes on the college side and how the college game has evolved in the time that you were in college?
From the time that I was in college?
From where you bowled and then when you worked with them and where we are now.
I can tell you there is a lot more dedication and a lot more heart in college bowling than there has ever been, at least for the time that I've been in, from 03 to 08, my years that I was there. Just from the coaching aspect. I mean, there's times where I couldn't get the girls out of the bowling center. They just wanted to be there because they knew those other teams that they want to beat, they're there too. So I see the level of bowling. It's definitely progressed. We do still get some of those years where there's a little bit of the talent that goes down, but the talent that comes right up through it, they're better, they're stronger. The knowledge is more. They're all sponges. They all want to know what's going on. And I mean, on the female side of the things, from where I coach, it's definitely gotten a lot better. It's exciting. It's exciting to sit back and watch and see, and when they do something right, or it clicks in their head, and they're like, "That's what you're talking about." Yeah. Okay, but and then that makes them want it more. That makes them want more. Anything, like more knowledge to be able to go out there and beat anybody else then.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw when I was in Singapore. And the Asian ladies, and when I see people like Danielle McEwen and these, Lindsay Boomershines and the women, I think that the men kind of always had an idea, well, maybe I should be physically fit, and maybe not, but women athletes are coming into their own. And I'm telling you, man, I have not seen women in this kind of shape in bowling in my entire life. They are athletes.
It's motivation.
They are not bowlers. They are not just bowlers. They are athletes.
Well, you look at what Liz has done and how she's changed over her career. Her body has changed over time because she's taken care of herself
and
more.
Kelly.
And Kelly's done this, and the longevity they've had. Carolyn still making shows.
Yeah.
And then you look at a girl like Shannon O'Keefe, who's obviously taking care of herself and doing fantastic out there as well. And then, you make a great point, Barbara, about the Asian women and what they do and how hard they work and the amount of time and effort they put into it. And obviously mentioning Danielle as well, Danielle McEwen, who is a gym rat. I mean, they're perfecting their craft, and more now than ever, the top women are in the tip-top shape, and that helps you get a mental edge. I believe, because I've been a guy that's been in the gym my whole life, I believe that when I walk through the door, that if I've done the work outside, I feel like I have an advantage when I walk through the door. And the women, I agree with you. I think they're starting to change the way they see things and view things, and they're much more serious about it and much more driven.
Yeah.
Much more driven.
I think that expands not just with the women, but overall with this, the younger generation of bowlers.
I
like
agree.
Marshall Kent, A.J. Johnson.
Yeah.
Those guys are all gym rats. And talking with Marshall Kent, we did an interview with him for one of our video series. And one of the questions we asked is bowling a sport? Because that's always a question that comes up, or something that comes up. And absolutely, I think everyone here would say it is. But Marshall was very, very adamant and very passionate about it. It is a sport. And the things that we are doing in the gym and how we're taking care of our bodies, how we're eating, those sorts of things, it absolutely is a sport. And the way that they're treating it is it's awesome.
Well, I think, for people who really don't understand bowling, I dare them to go to any sport that is a precision sport where you have to aim and you have to be. What other sport in the world do you have 10 tries to win? If you're if you have football, basketball, you got teammates, golf, you got 18 holes, and on those 18 holes, you have 3 to 4 to 5 shots to go. Oh well, you know what? I'm doing that, and then you've got 3 days. Mm-hmm. In a bowling tournament, at the finals, you have 10 shots, you have 10 tries to figure out. What ball am I going to use? What's the lane condition? When I get up there and I throw this, if that didn't react exactly the way I needed it to, was that me that threw it wrong? Was that the lanes breaking down? Was that the ball? Was it me that, that I went too fast? What other sport gives you that kind of pressure? What other sport? I would like to, come on, you come tell me. I mean, if I'm shooting arrows, and I'm not saying that's a difficult thing to do, but your arrows fly, the arrow's the same thing. You are playing on an invisible surface. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what other, that's my definition of a sport.
No, I completely agree. We come in here day in and day out, always trying to figure it out. It changes from day to day too.
Second to second, shot to shot.
You never know, lane to lane.
It's changed when I walked in here from the first to 15 minutes ago till now. I mean, temperature changes. There's so many influencing factors, like you said, Barb, the invisible lane that's always changing that really nobody has an idea of. And you mentioned the arrows, and we'll talk about the arrows in golf. At least you can see your obstacles in front of you,
yeah.
Your water in front of you, the wind. You can kind of get an idea for the wind when you're shooting arrows. You can see your bullseye, your target. Here, with the application of oil and where it's applied on the lane, and with what the bowling balls do to the oil and moving it all over the place, and you have all the other different people playing the lane in certain ways, it certainly makes it a challenge for any player to come in here. And I welcome anybody. And I played some other sports at the high level.
Yeah, you
so
did.
I played with I played at Penn State football with, some great athletes, and I can tell you, this is a sport all day, every day, and twice on Sundays.
And I challenge every single person that's a bowler that loves bowling, have your elevator speech ready. You know what, and you know what an elevator speech is? It's just 2 or 3 sentences that when you see somebody, and when I'm on a plane and somebody's sitting next to me and they go, oh, what do you do? And I manufacture bowling balls for a living. And they're like, wow, really, that's kind of interesting. And I'm going, bowling's a sport, and they, you start getting the eye rolls. And I have my speech. I talk about what I just said. I'd say, you know what? And everybody's eyebrows go up. They're just like, wow, I never thought about that. I'm thinking beer belly, drinking, you just go up there, because that's what they do when they go bowling. They don't realize what we're doing, or you guys are doing.
The
Not
leisure
me.
part.
Not me, Not me. I'm the leisure part.
No, you're the queen.
Plastic
Remember,
ball.
Queen.
we're going to get that picture out and show them that you won
Yeah,
back in the
yeah,
day.
I'm Storm Queen, yeah.
The Storm Queen, and we're going to have the picture right next to it.
Okay.
You make sure you work on that, Paul, back at home office. I'm holding you to that, all right?
Please
We'll find
don't.
it.
Please
We'll
don't
find
post
it
it.
for sure.
We want to bust that one out and get that on the site, see how many hits we can get.
A couple
bet-
questions coming at you. First off, what is a good ball for heavier oil? And along those same lines, a heavier oil with low rev. Any suggestions?
Yeah, we've got a couple. We've got a couple on the line right now. Storm Lock and Storm Alpha Crux are two great balls for heavy oil conditions, and they're going to high rev rate, low rev rate because they're so aggressive. They're going to work for a myriad of styles. And on the Rotogrip side, we got a new ball coming out called the No Rules. Comes out August 2nd. I would encourage you all to get to your pro shops and take a look at the No Rules, because if you remember the Hypercell series, which was one of our most aggressive balls we ever made in Utah, the No Rules is definitely going to fill the void there, and you're going to have no problem getting shot shape with any three of those bowling balls. You've got a Lock, you've got an Alpha Crux, and a No Rules, and I can tell you right now, all three of them will give you shape at certain places on the lane. Hands down, I guarantee it. And if they don't, come talk to me and I'll come help them. And I'll show them how to make it work.
Alicia, have you thrown the No Rules?
In all honesty, no, I have not yet, because I have been in the process of moving. So it is packed in the back of a truck right now.
Boo.
But I will be drilling one this week for sure, and it will be going to Lucy doubles with me and the U.S. Open. So hopefully I get a chance to throw it.
Oh, that's great. Let's ask Barb. Barb, have you thrown the No Rules?
Yeah.
I haven't thrown anything. Remember the injured left hip?
That's
you
right.
know?
But you're getting back. You're getting in the gym and you're coming back.
I'm getting in the gym.
Storm Queen's making a comeback. I like this.
It's fine, and I'm actually I'm offended that nobody at the Storm League has
Asked you to
tried
bowl on
to
the
pick
team.
me up.
Man.
I'm a free agent.
They're
My God,
scared.
what's
Maybe
wrong?
they're scared.
That
You
could
know
be-
what?
You're intimidating them.
Travis might need someone. His average is so high. He needs someone.
Well, yeah, I'm not telling anybody.
Maybe
what
her
mine
book
is.
average is higher than you think.
It's really down because really I've bowled like maybe 12. The only thing I bowl is I go to nationals once a year, but then I bowl a little 8-week league
That's
that I
great.
call Beat Your Average League. So I get my 24 games a year in, and I'm just, that's shameful to admit, but
When's the last time you bowled with Bill in league?
Oh my God, I don't bowl with Bill. in
I'd
league.
love to see that.
You know what? We're known as the Bickersons.
Okay.
And the very last thing, it was probably 20 years ago, I was bowling on a mixed league with Bill on the same team. And he'd go, "It's Christ, Barbara, what are you doing over here? Why did you miss that 10 pin? Why did you do that? Why did you?" And I wanted to go, you know what? Because I got up there and tried to miss the 10 pins. It just makes me so happy to hear you complain at me. And, I just can't wait to do it again.
Can we get a battle of the sexes league going on in Utah?
For you guys that don't know out there, Bill Crispin is Barbara's husband and co-owner of Storm Products. So I should have clarified that, meaning Bill Crispin, her husband, with two of the best people I've ever met in my life.
Yes.
I want to see them. I want to see them bowl together in a league.
I think we need to live stream that.
Yeah, that would be great.
We
We'll
can
work with
bowl
Tavia and
together
Paul.
in a league. We can. We're
Docile
we're
creatures
more
now.
mature now. Bill has learned he doesn't try to coach me.
Yeah, that's all right.
No, your husbands never coach wives, and wives never coach husbands. Bad deal.
It's a bad combo.
I think so.
Okay.
Because I took it personal when all he was trying to do was try to
you.
help me.
Yeah.
And it felt like the same thing was when I was home and he was telling me how to do the dishes,
Tell me, how do you and Brenda work together?
Actually, my wife's a bowler, and she's, thrown Storm Products for quite some time, and won on tour with the trauma, and we met through bowling. So she actually embraced the fact we were able to very easily separate it because we both were bowling for a living for quite some time, and I tried to help her weaknesses and help some things that that I thought could make her better. but she also helped me, in seeing things with my game as well, and seeing things differently. So I always think, and I've said this many times, I enjoy watching women bowl just as much as I enjoy watching the men bowl.
The men are cool.
And the reason why is because the women are better tacticians. They're just better. They're better. They're more fundamentally sound. I think they have their patience, their emotions more in check. They may hide them. Maybe they internalize them a little better and hide them a little better. But I enjoy being around the women because I learn a lot from them to try to help my own game as well. So with Brenda, it was always easy.
She has an amazing game. She's even better.
Yeah, she almost won the singles this year.
I know. I bowled next to her.
Yeah, she shot 751 in the singles. She finished second in the singles this year. It was pretty cool.
I think it would be different if you were a coach and you know what you're talking about, and I'm just bowling on league and I'm bowling a 150 average. Well, back then 150 wasn't bad.
Right.
But and having your husband ask you why you missed the 10 pin. I don't think a coach asks that of a professional athlete.
You know what, Barb? You got a point. You make up a good point.
Yeah.
The conversations were obviously different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But it worked. But it worked, and it worked well. And it's a shame. I feel bad for her in the fact because she still loves bowling, and when she started coming into her own when she was in her late 20s, she made about 8 or 9 shows there towards the end. And then, the women lost their sponsor, and then she had won on tour, and she was trending in the right direction. But then when the women lost to tour stop, and we started a family, and all those other things come into play. She really hasn't had a place to go bowl, so she just bowls locally on the weekends. And and you guys can attest to this, Barb, being in the business field, you always want to try to strive and do your best at everything you do. And Alicia, same thing as a coach and as a bowler, you always want to. If you're not prepared, you don't want to do it, right? And she doesn't feel like she could prepare herself to go out and bowl even a couple stops because she wouldn't be where she needed to be. Yeah. So she sprinkles in a state tournament here and the USBCs, which is, she still loves to be in the moment. And it was pretty neat this year staying out there. And she had a chance to win the singles and finish second in the all events at that point. And it was pretty cool to watch because, I was proud and happy for her. And it was a really cool moment. And she's won 3 USBC titles before, so it was just pretty cool, and I really enjoyed it. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. What about you and Travis? You and Travis?
We work very well together.
Okay, so good. That's good.
He's the one person I trust completely to tell me what I'm doing wrong, or if I don't see a move right away. And he goes, we were just talking about it this week, watching his little brother bowl right now, and he'd be like, well, I can tell him to move 5 and 2, but he might not trust me right away.
Would he trust you over him, though?
I don't know.
His little brother? I don't know. That's
I
what I'm
don't
asking
know about that. Maybe. I don't know. Some things he does, some things he doesn't. But, like Travis, he'd be like, he'll tell me, move 5 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no doubt in my mind.
No hesitancy at all.
No hesitancy. And, bowling ball, like, I can leave a 10 pin, and he'd be like, you got to change balls. You got to do it now.
Right.
Well, why? Well, okay.
Yeah, and when you're hesitant, though, that's when the questions start coming in. You got to do it with conviction, and that's total trust. So you make a good point there.
Yeah.
So the kids out here have to have the same thing.
Yeah, even though they prepare with their coaches and everything out here, you're still out here on your own. Your coach can't throw it for you. They might be able to see a couple things, but you still got to know your own game better than anyone else does.
Right.
And what you're capable of doing.
Oh, wrap the 2 around the 10. Looks like they're in game 3 over here on. Is the whole building a certain age? This morning we had a cutoff here, so.
This is everyone but under 12.
Okay, so the 20s, the 15, everybody's bowling right now that's left in the field. All the 12s are up at Woodland, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're getting down to the.
Yeah,
we're making some final cuts here. This
will be the top 16.
This is like the semifinals of American Idol. We're starting to cut down here to the nitty gritty. After America's vote. I don't kind of have that Ryan Seacrest feeling, I guess. They'll work on that.
Well, I think this is a little more fair than just trying to get everybody to vote. You know, they've got to go out and perform.
100%.
Remember the sport thing that I was talking about?
That's right. That's right. I still have a hard time with the Olympics. Like, they vote on some of the people that win. Like, how do you tell me that your vault's better than others if neither one of you fall and you spin the same way and you spin the same amount and you fall, you land at the same time? How are you saying that one's better than that? Here, we have a distinct score that tells you that's higher than that score. The high score wins. Speaking of a high score, I see a 268 over there. That's the highest game I've seen so far.
I think that's an under 20 group over there.
I got a young kid over here bowling 250 on 69 and 70. This morning they had the names up, but it looks like they went with the ABCs here, so to probably help the scoring units go through faster.
Yeah. Scoring units go through faster, but the scores are going to take a little longer.
Yeah, that's true because they're not going to go with the bowlers
No.
too. So
No.
we watched Justin Carl earlier this morning. This kid throws it really good. I watched him earlier. He was on 63 earlier this morning. This kid's got a nice young game. Looks like Justin Timberlake actually.
He's up on 66 for those of
Right
you
there.
watching.
I called him Justin Timberlake this morning.
I see a little bit.
Yeah, it's
A little
Justin
bit.
Timberlake. Got the earrings, necklace out. I want to know if he can dance. I want to see if we put that song on, if he'll start dancing or not. Barb, what's next for you? Where are you headed next? And tell everybody a little bit about your schedule and kind of what the rest of your year shapes up to be. I know you've done some overseas traveling this year and are making a huge impact not only in women's bowling but bowling in general. But you hold a lot of hats in our industry, and you're kind of like you're one of the rock solid people in this industry. So what's next for you, and tell the people where you're going and what you're doing.
Well, actually, Sunday morning, right after this is finished, we'll be flying to Lincoln, Nebraska to go for the opening ceremonies of the World Youth.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
The World Youth is going to be opening there. And then in the middle of August, we'll be going to Fukuoka, Japan for the
Under 22?
U20. Yeah, they're going to change it to U20, but it's U22 right now, and that's the youth, the same thing as junior gold for the Asians over there. And so we'll be doing that tournament, and then I come back, and then I'm going to kind of take my sister, leave Bill home, which is not going to fly. I'm sure he'll just find some place to go. He's not good at staying home alone. I'm going to go through Tokyo and then to Hong Kong for a bowling tournament that's there in order to, without sounding arrogant or anything like that, but when I come to a tournament and they feel that it leads credibility to their tournament. If I'm willing to come and be there, then their tournament has credibility. And so in order to help, and it's another tournament that, I think it has.
When is that? When is that one?
That one
is it in September?
In September.
So you're going to the Asian Championships
then
in
Asian
Hong Kong.
Championships
right.
in Hong Kong.
Yep.
And then we'll be going back to Japan in October, and then to the AMF World Cup in Shanghai
in China,
in October. And God, and then we're supposed to go back to Qatar in December
for the World Singles event, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be busy. You got lots of frequent flyer miles going.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm trying to build a cabin in Wyoming, out in nowhere, Wyoming, so that I can get Mr. Chrisman away from bowling just a little bit, just so that he can go out. And you know what? He used to be, when I first met him, he was the fisher person extraordinaire. And now he never fishes, and he grew up in Wyoming, and it's kind of where his heart is. And so I'd like to get him up there. We've got a little piece of property that has a little pond on it, so I just went and bought some fish and threw them in the pond, and so now I got to get him a place to sleep. Well, maybe me. He could probably sleep in the grass, but I'm not sleeping in the grass anymore. Remember that hip I was talking about? Yeah. That is not going on the grass. In a sleeping bag. No.
Okay.
Oh. What's your favorite country that you've ever traveled to?
You know, I've got to say that my very favorite thing I've ever done in my life is gone to the Galapagos, because there was nothing there. And not that I don't love bowling, but when you eat, drink, and breathe bowling every single day, that sometimes it's just, it was the first time that we went somewhere that I didn't have to go to a bowling center.
A little break.
And so I went to the Galapagos and I got to see these, you know, I'm such a down-to-earth spiritual person that when I went to the Galapagos, I was able to see that I am nothing more than one of God's creations. And those animals and those birds were not afraid of me. As far as they were concerned, I was just another little creature. And being as I was not a threat, it was just one of the most kind of humbling, but just made me feel so connected to this physical planet, and just made me feel like I was just so, not necessarily small, but not such an important human being that rules the world, you know. We were just part of God's kingdom, you know. And
It's on my bucket list to go to the Galapagos. I hope someday I get to go there. I'm a big animal guy.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
I got to swim with sea lions.
Wow.
And and one came up, and I mean, it was the first time I'd ever snorkeled too, so that was probably awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
And was why I was so. But when they're under the water, they grab these little circles. I mean, these little things that are round like a ball, but they're something that hangs out in the bottom of the ocean. I'm sure somebody knows what they're called, but I don't. And it was throwing it in the air and kind of throwing it at me like, come on, let's play. Or I'm supposed to blow bubbles at it, and I'm going, I don't know how to blow bubbles.
That's just amazing, though.
It was. It was really.
You didn't have to be Barb Crispin that day. You were just a person in the world. That's it.
Yep. Wish I could have blown bubbles and blown it back to him.
That's great. That's great.
So as far as countries, I like, you know, you can't say any one thing. I just appreciate the differences. I used to, when I first started traveling, my first place was in Korea, and it was 30 years ago, so it was very different than where women were still not, you know, and even though I was a business partner, it was a nay, we don't want you, you know, you've got to stay away. And I thought, well, you know, after I got over being angry, and then I wanted to go out and I wanted to go see I wanted to see your city. I want to see how you live. I want to see how, you know, I want to see your history. I want to understand. And they kept saying, well, we're going to take you shopping. I'm going, I don't want to go shopping. I don't, you know, I guess I'm a weird woman, but I can shop anytime. And I just, when I'm in a different country, I want to go see. And I love history, and I love imagining what things used to be like, and how we've come, and why do you feel this way, and why would you hate me, or why would, you know, all that kind of stuff.
I can totally agree with that, because I realized when going to another country, you can go shopping and kind of do the thing that you would expect to do in many other countries, but what makes a country are the people.
Yeah.
You know, and once you actually experience who they are and what they do and how they eat, and experience the land that's around it, it's very humbling. And then you start to apply the history that's around, and then you start to understand, and that makes you much more connected to that land or those people. I agree with you.
Yeah. We're waning philosophical here.
No, just got deep. It's going
Real
down
deep.
on the lane.
I'll tell you what, the Armstrong kid, is it Jacob Armstrong?
Yeah, right.
He's right here in front of us. The kid that bowled 1068
Yep.
on the short. He's right here on lane 65. Barb, a couple days ago, I was in here and he bowled 250, 279, 259, 268, and he just made
picked up
a
a
nice pickup. But this kid's been impressive all week. He's been amongst the leaders all week. I don't know where he is now because obviously with the scores going down, we can't really give you an idea where the players are.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little harder for the viewers at home to know because we don't know. So we can't give them that information. But we can tell you that there's obviously some very talented young bowlers here in this building. And there's an awful lot of people here. If you look at the concourse, it's really exciting to see.
Yes.
I think that it's hard to be a competitor, but it would be exceptionally hard to be mama and daddy sitting back here.
Yeah, I talked to a couple parents today of some that I know, and they're nervous.
Yeah, it's just nerve-wracking when you want your child to.
And all you can do is just be a supporter and
That's right.
just be positive about what's happening for them.
I mentioned it earlier today. There's a lot on the line for some of these kids. You know, financially,
Yes.
with scholarships, obviously in the event itself, and then you've got all these colleges in the back here that
It's
potentially
a huge
could
recruiting
change
week
could
for
change
colleges.
could change their life
Yes.
by getting them full scholarships or partial scholarships to go into study in the university and change their life. So
Yeah.
there's a lot going on this week, and hence, as you said, I would think the pressure meter is higher back here, Barb, like you said, than it is in the set team. I would tend to agree with you.
I think it's hard, but I'll tell you what, as a proud parent of watching, my boys run up and down a football field or my daughter out there, bowling. God, she was such a natural. I don't wish she could have. Things had changed for her life and she could still be out here, but being a parent is one of the hardest things I've ever done, and it's also one of the most rewarding.
So I have a question from the comment section. Michael asks, is a bowler considered a power player by where or how they play the lanes?
No, I don't think so. I think a power player has a number of different definitions, but it's not how you play the lane. For example, Jason Belmonte is one of our premier power players on our staff. He's made TV shows playing right with Urethane, and he's played TV shows lofting the left gutter and won championships. So I don't think how you attack the lane determines whether you're a power player or not. Power player is determined based on speed and rev rate and rotation, how much those equate as opposed to attacking the lane. Attacking the lane is the trick. The key was when the power player can attack the lane to the right, to the middle, and to the left. When you have that, that's when you really have something special.
I agree with you. You can do it all. No one's going to stop you. And, we see that from Belmo.
Yeah,
week
Belmo.
in and week out.
Belmo's been probably one of our greater examples of being the premier power player that's played the game in the last 5 years and had success. He's gone on a monumental run that I don't know if I'll ever see in my lifetime. But just an impressive display of, and on his TV shows he hooked it a lot. But there's a couple of shows also that he's made in the last couple of years that people don't know that, where at the Fall Classic last year at South Point, he made the show and was the only right-hander to make the show playing using Urethane to the right. So attacking the lane doesn't determine if you're a power player or not. Your style and the other things that are involved determine that.
Good.
I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, we lost our host. We lost our Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
You guys are the anchor now.
Oh, we're the anchor. Hey.
Anchor sink.
Yeah, that's right. Wait a minute. My butt's not that big. Yeah, it's guess just needs some topics. You know, the one thing that is really, I know this sounds just crazy, but I am just so impressed with the clothing. I know it sounds crazy, but I love, and I've got to say that when Bill and I started in Storm, that the image of bowling was, at that time, one of the big posters out was a sumo wrestler, just, this big power. And I've got to say, I think that Storm classed up the world of bowling. When we first put out our very first poster, it was actually a piece of artwork that we had bought the rights to, and it was a storm, a lightning storm over some pine trees that a guy in the desert in Arizona had painted for us. And then we got the different colored logos on the bowling ball. We got these really cool bowling shirts and put different bowling shirts.
Yeah.
So everything about us, I think, was just all in the details. And so when I see these guys and they're wearing these classy looking, it's not your typical King Louis bowling shirt anymore. And so I just think it's just wonderful to see people caring about not only their game, but about how they present themselves.
Yeah, I mean, appearance sometimes, you look good, you feel good.
Right.
That can be the game changer of the day. You might not, you might have had a bad day the day before, but, you're going to wake up the next day and it's a new day. And, your appearance does matter. It does play a toll on mentally for you.
I was just talking to some friends the other day that, when I first found myself retired, I got somewhat very depressed because it was like, well, what do I do with myself? I used to go out and sell, so I was out talking to somebody every single day. I got up every single morning. I made myself up. I, went out and talked and laughed and giggled and took care of people. And, one day I was sitting there and thinking, my God, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't even brushed my teeth. And I'm still sitting in my pajamas staring at my computer screen trying to figure out whose bills I'm going to pay, And I thought, this stinks and this will not happen again. And so when I'm at my saddest, and I just lost a really good friend on July 4th, and, I get up in the morning, I brush my teeth, holy moly, I get up in the morning, brush my teeth, and I put makeup on. I mean, not that I wear a lot, but it's just, even if I'm not going to leave the house, because I have a tendency that if I don't just walk past the mirror and feel that some way, somehow I've respected myself enough to, not that I'm putting it on for, really, I'm not putting it on for anybody else. But, seriously, my makeup takes like 3 minutes, so. But if I don't respect myself, I can't really expect others to respect me. And when I'm feeling my worst, even if I'm just walking past the refrigerator and the reflection off of this warped refrigerator, if I see some haggard person that hasn't washed their hair or then I see a depressed, sad person. So just walking past and not that I'm going, oh, wow, I'm beautiful. It's just like, well, okay.
You can hold your head a little higher that day.
Yeah, I can just keep going. And, and I think that anybody that's ever struggled with depression, that's one of the keys that I learned early on. Not that I'm a real depressive person, but I've gone through those times where I have been.
Everyone has.
And so those were one of the few keys that I learned is just, suit up and show up.
Yes. I completely agree.
Well said. Well said.
Some life lessons here from Barb Christmas.
Yeah, this too shall pass.
Tavia, how's the chat going? Any questions? Any concerns?
Not yet.
See, everybody wants to know about bowling when they're tuned in to here. They don't want to hear me.
No, they get to hear from you, someone that they don't get to, you know.
A unique perspective for someone that's so important in our industry is always nice to hear, because it gives people, they feel like they get a chance to know you too as well.
A
So,
little bit more personal.
you know, there's often times that I'm at events, and I know people want to come up and say hi to you and Bill, and they're, for some reason, there are some guys, they get afraid because of who you are, and you're standing in the industry. So it's always nice, I think, to have you or have Bill get on and get in front, so people can hear your voice and realize how kind and how, personable you people actually really are, as opposed to just being some figurehead that stands in the back. You guys are engaged day in, day out, and are really, really approachable people. And I think it's always these are important. These times when you get out here to talk to the public, I think it's very important from my perspective, because I know you two better than most. I'm lucky because I've known you guys more than half my life. So you're family for me. It's my perspective is much different than 99% of the people's perspective. But I always push the fact that you guys don't understand how great Barb and Bill are and how good of people they are. You just got to go up and talk to them, and you'll understand. Wow. They are real. Wow. It's kind of like talking to a celebrity. Other people, they go, wow, I don't want to talk. I can't talk to so-and-so. I can't talk to so-and-so.
Yeah.
When really, if you just go up and say hi, they'll find out that you're one of the most approachable people there is, especially in our industry that does so much good for our sport.
Well, thank you. That's
Yeah,
nice.
even Brad, one of the commenters, said that your views on life and on this game are refreshing perspectives.
Oh, well, thank you. I worked hard to get those views.
There was a lot of league nights where she had
there was a lot of league nights.
a lot of league nights where she had to drop down the hammer.
Yeah. No, I think that when I was in Singapore for that symposium, and I was talking about how we had started the business. I showed the pictures of the little warehouse where we started, and I showed this building that had like 3 overhead doors, and I said, well, this is where we started. And then I said, well, not actually. We only had the one door. And then how we came up, and, I took pictures of each one of the plants, and how I was, when we first started, that I was the one that was taking the bowling balls in the back of my trunk down to the showboat and begging the pros to throw them. And I'll never forget the one guy looking at me, he goes, well, why would I want to throw that bowling ball? And I was, given this nice little sad sob story. Well, because we're bowlers and we started, and he's gone, I don't care about that. Why is that bowling ball going to make me any better? And I went, wow, I guess I better learn something about bowling balls or send somebody else, because I don't know the answer to that. And now, of course, I do. It was, we were the first the first company to have reactive shell technology in a controllable format, where, Excalibur was first, but we were right after that. I mean, within 3 months of the Excalibur wins, and so, and now people can't even imagine bowling before reactive shell technology, and that was actually just a mistake, that we developed that. Or it was because we were in Ogden, Utah, and when we were making bowling balls, that in the winter, I don't know whether it was the A or the B side, on the tanker trucks, we couldn't afford to have warmed tankers. So they put in an additive to keep the side from freezing. So that little additive is what reactive shell technology is.
I am getting so many lessons today.
I knew about that one. So.
But then when, from going back to the Singapore thing, is that when I was, talking about our history and who we are, and that we were just bowlers, and that we cared about the game, and we really do care about the game, and we care about bowlers. And, we care about people, and we care about doing the next right thing. And so when I got finished with it, it was kind of amazing to see what different people said that would come up to me afterwards. And one guy was just going, "Oh my God, you're just like me." When I looked, I was like, "Yeah, I'm just like you." And he's going, "No, I really can't believe you're just like me." And I'm like, kind of, "What are you talking about?" And he's going, "I kind of just assumed that Storm was a corporation. It was this corporation, and there were these people that were just at the top, and they were just making these decisions, like the IBMs and the you know, the Pfizers of the world." And so one guy was actually going to start his business because he had seen how, you know, I gave him some advice on how to stay solvent before, you know, and in order to start your business so that you've got enough money to stay and go ahead and take the risk.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was just, "I'm going to go back to Taiwan and tell everybody you're just like me."
You changed some lives there.
Yeah, I think so. And that's when I feel best about me.
Yeah.
See, I've got plenty of people that are great bowlers, like you and Timmy here, and I've got a whole plant full of people that know how to make great bowling balls. And so that's not my expertise. Mine is just, I guess, just being the queen and doing the queen wave. So if you want to talk about bowling, you guys analyze away.
I used to be a good bowler, but I don't bowl that much anymore. So I like where I'm at right now. So I like playing the game, but I like watching people like Alicia's career turn full circle.
I don't know if I have much of a career.
Yeah,
right now.
sure you do. First champion.
Never.
First champion of the PWBA Tour, ladies and gentlemen, the new PWBA Tour.
Barb was there to watch that.
You're talking to her, and that's
I was there.
Alicia Current from PA. Ephrata, PA.
You're the first person to say that correctly.
I know. Well, that's fine because I'm from Pennsylvania. That helps a little bit too.
I know.
She is your first champion on the new ladies tour, guys. So if you got some questions for her and the girls that are watching out there on what it takes to win, you know, how she felt about her win and those types of things, now's your time because you don't get an opportunity too often to actually type in some questions to the original first founder of the new ladies tour, which is Alicia. So I think you got plenty of a career. The founder that you won.
I'm grateful that we have the chance. Kelly and I were talking about that earlier, and it's just amazing the amount of people and sponsors and everyone that's behind the scenes that are just keeping it there for us and allowing us to do this week in and week out. And you know, I've taken a 2-week break here to get myself mentally back on track. And
a move takes away a little bit.
I got a lot going on.
You got a U.S. Open coming up, don't you?
I got the Lucy doubles and right to the U.S. Open.
Right.
You know, and we're going to be there all week because I get to cheer on my girl Lindsay for her show that she made in Tampa. Yep. So we're super excited about that.
I forgot to add that in there. I will be coming back to Chicago for the U.S. Open.
You know what? I'm going to sit next to you, just like Lindsay sat next to you during the show.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
How's he doing?
He's hanging in there.
Yeah.
He's hanging in there.
What's hanging in there, Timmy?
He's got a couple 200 games.
Who's he?
Wesley Low.
Wesley Low. He is one of the bright futures of our sport. And we're lucky that we get a chance to watch him here on live Extra Frame, or not Extra Frame, but live stream. And I know right now there's one guy for sure watching, and that's Robert Dong, because he loves him some Wesley Low. And Robert Dong is our Vice President of Asian Sales over in Asia and does a great job for us over in Asia. Very instrumental in our company and a big Wesley Low fan. And as I am, I bowled one tournament in my life with Wesley Low.
Yes.
And Gary Mage. It was a regional out on the West Coast. It's a great story. This was in 2010. Wesley, I think, was 10 or 11 years old. So it was 6 years ago. So he was 11 years old. And Gary said, don't worry, this kid knows what he's doing. I was bowling a PBA regional. It was the last regional that was available to try to get into the Tournament of Champions. You don't worry, this kid knows what he's doing. I said, oh, okay. So I bowled as a two-handed lefty, and he was 11 years old. And I mean, he bowled great. And I mean really, really, really good. And I won the tournament. So I need to bowl more tournaments that Wesley Low bowls in.
All right, whenever you're ready to jump out.
So I'm pretty happy.
So you're good. You can keep talking.
Okay.
All right.
So Wesley is definitely trending in the right direction. He's going to be a great bowler for a long time. So we're lucky that he's bowling here on camera. He was the leader this morning. And a great young kid and a two-hander, another two-hander. Barb, we talked about it this morning, and I know you're going to get going soon, but we've seen so many two-handed bowlers. I was over at the under 12 for kids, and I couldn't believe how many two-handed bowlers I saw. I mean,
I can believe it.
It's definitely
All right, so
changing
I
the
hate
game.
to interrupt, but
What do we
I
got?
have a question from Brad for Alicia. So a fantasy bowling question. If there was anyone in the previous PWBA or LPBT, tour you could bowl with, who would you choose to pair up with?
Huh.
Wow, that's a good question. I want to hear this one.
That is a good question.
So it's a doubles tournament, right?
So
That's
if it's a
kinda
In a doubles event.
Doubles event, because I have bowled with a lot of the past PWBA, LPBT pros and pro-ams because I grew up bowling all of them. But I think.
How about that? That's kind of unfair because you got to think. Okay, is it like Tish Johnson and Liz? Liz is still active, but Tish. I mean, back when they were at the height of their career that you could pair up with, or now? Let's say when they were the very best.
That's right. Make it hard for Barb. Come on.
When they were at their
Something
very
reasonable.
best, Barb?
Yeah.
So we're changing your question, Brad.
Who's your choice at the tip
You
top
know
of
what?
their game?
Tip top of their game? Michelle Feldman.
Wow, I like that.
I've always liked her.
I like that.
Growing up watching her and, bowling the pro-ams with her, I was just in awe.
Yeah.
I wish she was still around to bowl. I know she had some wrist problems there, but
she was special.
Oh, yeah.
She was special, no doubt.
Definitely one of my favorite.
That was about the time that I was hanging out and going around with the professional bowlers tour. When we're talking about doing grassroots, I followed the PWBA around like a little lost puppy. I'd go to all the stops and go, oh my God, I'm just rubbing elbows with these guys. So.
Isn't Michelle the first lady to bowl 300 on TV? On the PWBA? She might be. She might be. If she's not, she's one of them. Because I remember she did it in Virginia. What a player.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
Now that's a power player.
That is the epitome of power, raw power.
Yeah.
I used to when I was at the tournaments watching Brenda, I used to yell every time she threw, and I yelled loud for a messenger.
You loud?
I was loud. Those were my old days. Not anymore. Not anymore. Got to be passionate about what you do, right?
You do. Timmy, are you going to be repping at all in the women's stuff?
We've got Del Ballard Jr. out there and Jim Callahan, and I know Hank Boomershine's been out there a couple times. And I obviously doesn't look like I'm going to be hitting any of the ladies' stops this year, which is kind of disappointing for me because I enjoy being around the ladies and watching them bowl. And I'm a firm believer that if you hang around good-looking people, you become better looking. And there's a lot of pretty ladies out there. So, yeah. But there's it doesn't look like this year I'm going to be at any of the stops coming up. So,
okay. Which
is disappointing. But I always watch from afar, and I'm always rooting for you guys. But on the Storm side, Jim Callahan and Del Ballard. Del's our tour leader. He leads us. He's our guy. He's
Yes,
the guru.
Del-
I call him Yoda.
Yoda. He
is
looks
the
like
Force.
Yoda.
Yeah, I didn't say that. But
I will
Del,
take
if you're
full.
listening to that, you can take that one.
He's
But
my favorite bald man.
he's our leader, and he does a great job. And Jimmy
He-
Callahan's really good as well.
Del was with me on my first show I made, Queens in 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had Jim on my second show.
That's good. See, there you
Yeah.
go.
Two of the
All right, we
best.
got
So
another question.
I'll be the third one for the major championship win.
Yeah.
Maybe I better you work the U.S. Open.
You better be there.
All right, Tommy, what do you got for us?
All right, so Nick, he has a question for Alicia. It's a skills question. All right. What would you tell someone to focus on when practicing to improve their game, balance, or accuracy, consistency? What would you say is the best/most effective way to practice?
Best, most effective way to practice. All of that? What all was that? Improve their game, balance, accuracy, consistency. I know for me, I don't like to practice with scores on. I like to be able to feel what I'm doing. I know we're in the age of technology, but sometimes videoing yourself bowling every day, seeing the difference and everything can kind of be a little crazy for one person to take in, and they always want to try to do something different every time. But you need to have a game plan of what you're in there to do and what you're concentrating on, and feeling is the best way, because when you're out here bowling at tournaments, if you're a junior bowler, junior goal is the big thing out here, the biggest tournament for them, and you got to feel everything. You got to make sure you're comfortable with what you're doing, and if you don't have anyone behind you, you got to. It's all feeling. Everything is feeling of from shot to shot. Okay, like I think I got a little fast with that one. Okay, that's what you feel. I grabbed it. That's what you feel. So you just need to be confident with that. But I would just go out, have a practice partner too. That way you can see if you're hitting your targets for consistency and accuracy, or you can even make little devices. I know I've made out of PVC pipe. I have some devices that I made for the team, and we just put a little bit of any type of material that hangs down that you can hit the ball, and it won't ruin the ball at all. And you can move those all around. You have one in the front at the arrows and one down lane where the hash marks are, and those are different ways to do it too. I don't know if there's any type of really drills off the top of my head, but just
Very purist kind of mentality toward it. It's more you can feel and
yeah.
just
I know when I can't feel something, if it doesn't feel good, then there's something going on, and then that's when I need that second set of eyes maybe behind me just to see what's going on. That's normally when I go to Del or Jim. Can you just watch me a couple shots, tell me what's going on? Sure. Okay.
Within your practice, how much is fun involved?
In practice?
Yeah, when you're practicing and working on, all these things, how much are you including fun inside this, or is it just strictly business?
No, I mean sometimes it is strictly business, especially when I'm feeling like I need to I don't know the word, just to hunker down and get things going, and make sure that I'm feeling good about myself. But then, with maybe not just for myself, but when I practice with the girls, sometimes with the team that I coached, I try to involve some fun games, but still fundamental of what they need to do physically or even mentally too on the lane and as a team as well. They got to be together. They got to do this together in order to get to the next level. And so fun is important. It is important at the end of the day, because that's what's going to make this better for you. And you want to come out here and compete more often because you're going to have fun. You're going to smile, even though I don't do that a lot, but you're going to smile and you're going to laugh and be ready to go.
Yeah.
You see some of the best players, they may not show a lot of emotion like how Timmy was saying earlier, but when things are going well, it's going to show, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it more in their eyes than anything. You're not going to see it through a smile. You're going to see it in the eyes and their their antics on the lane and the motions that they're, how they walk and, But
insight.
I don't know. Fun is important. Fun is always important.
I think that and I will be getting back into bowling this year.
All right. You heard it here, folks.
Yes, I will. But because it didn't hurt me, I could golf, and I've gotten to be a fair golfer. And I think that if I'm practicing, I want to practice perfect. Everybody say, oh, go out there and practice doing this. Go out there and practice doing that. And I'm going, I am not going to go out and practice to chip or throw it at 10-pin if I don't know what is the proper place I should be practicing. What is the proper thing? Because if I go out and I practice bad form and I go out and practice bad technique, then I'm just reinforcing bad. So I need somebody, and if I'm practicing and I'm trying to get better and I'm trying to, like with Hank when I was, in the bowling center, he's going, okay, man, you're dropping, you're not bending your knee and you're standing up, and which means you're dropping your shoulder, which of course you're pulling the bowling ball, So, and this goes across all ranges of bowlers, whether you're a great athlete like you or whether you're just a little dumb bowler like me. No, I mean, I want to be. When I get back, I'm going to want to take my 150 average and turn it into a 180. So, but going up there and bowling more and more and more and more and more, doing the dumb thing of standing up straight and dropping my shoulder, is not going to help me become a win. I need to be given something to work on, and then I need to go practice that.
Yes.
And then I think that you're right, that whenever you have the eyes on you, and I think that I really, really like when somebody comes and watches me when I'm doing it correctly.
Yes.
When I'm on top of the world, when I am swinging and I'm hitting it, and I'm going, man, there's nobody that can beat me, or I am going to get up there and I am going to hit this, I'm going to get this strike, or I'm going to get, I'm going to hit this drive 220 yards. I want somebody to see that.
Yeah.
Because when I start screwing up and trying to go up there and throw it hard, the worst thing I can do is go up and throw it hard or try to swing hard. So when somebody sees that and goes, oh, you're speeding up, you're rushing the foul line, that's because they've seen me when I'm good.
Yeah.
So I like, I just don't want to go see a coach when I'm bowling bad. I want them to see me when I'm bowling good.
Yeah. And like when you
I agree with
practice.
that. That's a great thought process, especially for all the kids and all the people that are watching out there. I think you want to know what's good and bad, because you want to be reinforced on both sides. You want to say, hey, this is what you need to work on, but hey, Barb, this is what you're doing right.
Yeah.
And this is why.
Yeah.
And so that good part of the brain remembers that, and it stores in there, it stays in there. And then obviously when you're doing it wrong, you want to try to get to that good side.
Yeah. I think, I want a picture of me when I'm swinging correctly or I'm getting to the line correctly.
Right.
I want to see that visually, and then, I could go to somebody. I mean, even if I can't get to my coach, and I believe, one coach, two coaches is always the best thing. Otherwise, you end up with nothing but tossed salad.
Yes.
You get this opinion from this guy, you get that opinion from that guy. So but if I'm struggling and you're in a crux, or you're in a place where you've got to be able to, perform right then, and you're just kind of off.
Yeah.
If I could show them a video of me when I'm good, then they can go, oh, well, that's what you're doing. So when I get really good at bowling,
Eric Smith, it's Alicia from Wichita. I didn't go to Nebraska.
talk about Malaysia when we went shopping. Tavia, are we still on? Okay, we're on. Speaking of Selmers, there's a Selmer right in front of us there, Alicia.
Yeah, the younger one.
Yeah.
He actually has some exciting news coming up here after Junior Gold, as he'll be going adult, and I don't know if I want to ruin his.
I'll
let him do it. I'll let him tell. But
that's cool. Good for him.
Yeah. So things are going the right way for him. He works
How old
hard.
Is he?
20.
20. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
So this is his last Junior Gold. But he works hard on his game.
Who is that?
Travis. Travis's little brother, Jack.
Jack Selman right here on 66.
In the very colorful jersey here.
Another color-coded guy that you got to like that, Barb, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Travis, he makes all his jerseys and he takes them.
I'm kind of a colorful kind of gal.
We need to hook you up here with Lindsay then.
Yeah.
For some high five jerseys. You can
I've
golf
got
in them
some.
too.
I've got some.
Yeah,
on 63 and 64, that's Andy Nyer's son in the under 15.
The lefty,
there, the lefty.
yes.
Now
Very good.
He was up with the leaders or the leader.
He was the leader at one point, and then I believe coming into here he was fourth.
He's using a bowling ball that his father used.
Oh yeah,
a black angle.
I was actually talking to Andy Nyer here a little bit before
He's
this
using
started.
A black angle.
Yeah, and Anthony likes to steal the old bowling balls. He said he has to start putting a lock on them.
Ah, okay. So yeah, that's pretty funny. He's using a bowling ball that's
way older than
way
him.
older than he is. I bowled my first 300 with a black angle, 1984. Nice. That was fun.
Well, then that ball is older than me now too.
Yeah. That's right around when Barbara was the queen.
She still is the queen.
Won the queen. When she won the
she
won that
my
tournament.
It was my city tournament.
Yeah.
And I won.
See?
All events, and I won single with handicap now.
Did you at least have bowling shoes on though? Because your husband likes to bowl with sneakers on sometimes.
Yeah. Well, my husband's a little bit unorthodox. That was a good word.
That's a great word for him. Oh, that was a good one. I wish he could have heard that.
I
don't know where he is, but it would have been cool for him to hear that.
Yeah. I don't know where he is either.
He disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, unorthodox. I like it.
He is definitely a unique guy.
He throws it good, Jack.
He's been working hard. He posts videos all the time, and I can tell you from just the end of his high school career to now, completely different. And he idolizes Pete Weber, you know, how he can get around it, and he loves to watch John Zerbinski bowl. Two of our great staff members that we have on both sides.
Right. Andy Nyer's son took all the food from the family. He's a big dude, 15 years old. He took all the food. Comes Andy's father down. Andy Nyer actually just made the show at the Senior Masters. Great guy, and he was a great bowler for quite some time and still bowling good now. Just turned 50 and bowled the Senior Masters out in Vegas. He made the TV show.
He's from PA, too.
Yeah, he's a PA guy, Pennsylvania guy.
We're all good people.
Yeah.
Well.
He runs he has his own bowling center there, and
yep.
He threw global in there, so he bowled really good, really good.
And besides his son, he also has a daughter,
his daughter
Alexis, who is very good.
Redhead over there, right?
Yep. Very good. She will be going to Delaware State University.
Delaware State University. I know somebody that, I know somebody about Delaware State. So Wesley's gone 214, 157, 214.
What is he throwing?
150. He threw the pitch black, and that was the fight.
Fight, okay.
I can't tell him what to do because we can't talk about, what the players to do. But if I was his ball rep, I would not be playing the lane the way he's doing it right now with either one of the balls that he's used.
Maybe someone can text him that who is listening.
But he is good enough to figure it out.
Yes, he
and
is.
that's what the Junior Gold experience is all about. These kids got to figure it out and work through the ups and downs and the ebb and flows of bowling.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, they're bowling on patterns that aren't released. No information will be released until
tough,
next
too.
week, I believe.
Their patterns are tough.
Hey, this is an introduction to college bowling of how it is. They don't give you the patterns. It's you bring 5 balls and you hope those are the 5
It's the
balls
way
you
it
need.
should be. When I started bowling internationally for Storm in 95, 96, that's how it was. You didn't know what the pattern was. And we could only travel with 5, 6 bowling balls, and you made them work. And if you didn't make them work, guess what? It was a long flight on the way home.
I believe it.
And that flight to Singapore is not short. And there's sometimes those little 5'2", 112-pound Chinese spinners would chop you up for lunch and beat you down, and they were good at their craft.
Yep.
And that's just reality. So I liked it when it was like that, when you had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Not when it's posted now and, okay, let's bring out our 6 balls for this pattern, our 6 balls for that pattern, our 6 balls for that pattern. I don't like that so much.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that on the PWBA.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would change a lot of things.
I know they don't release our pattern until the half hour before practice, but that's still practice and another practice session. So, but
I can't tell who's the 15, who's the 20s.
the ones that have only like 4 on their lane is the under 15.
Okay, so these are 15s
Yeah,
right here.
Anthony and I are. I feel like the under 15 is bowling better.
I like number 64. I like that name, In the House. K House. He's in the house.
Wearing a Storm jersey.
Yeah.
Yay.
He's my kind of guy right there, that guy. I like that guy right there. There's so many kids that throw. It's so many girls and boys and girls on both sides, and the women and the men are so impressive to watch.
Can I tell you, I was watching
God.
the under 15 girls bowl this morning here. I've been here all day. And there are girls that get on it way more than I could ever imagine myself getting on the ball. And I was impressed. There's a lot of talent coming up through.
Well, I'm telling you what, I'm looking at these guys and I'm looking at how they're bowling and I'm thinking, well, I'm coming back, but I'll never throw it like that.
Hey, I just got a message before I came in the bowling center, and it's about the Lucy doubles, which I've never bowled before. And apparently Marsha Klompkin's partner tore his
Steve.
Yeah, his Achilles.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. She called me and asked me if I could bowl.
Are you bowling?
Well, I'm supposed to go to England on Sunday.
Oh.
I've got to go to work.
Okay, everybody out there, if you'd like to bowl with Marsha Klompkin and
You're not going to England on
You're
Sunday,
good.
and you're good. I'd have to talk to my boss and see if we can make it happen.
You can, email me.
I think you may have to.
I know her.
You may have to throw Storm and Rotogrip.
Which is fine.
With her.
I'll have a good chance to win then.
Yes.
I'd love the ball, actually, to be honest
That
with you.
tournament is amazing. Donna Connors, she does an amazing job at that.
Never had the opportunity to be down there, unfortunately.
Well,
Brenda and I
same.
would like to bowl it one year, and my wife's a full-time nurse, so it's hard with our schedules, and I'm a full-time employee. I'm all over the place. I've got a busy schedule like Barbara does in the second half of the season, so which is fun. I'll be in Korea, Thailand, Hong Kong. I'll be seeing Barbara in Hong Kong. That'll be cool. That'll be great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be there without Bill.
All right.
So you're going to be my escort?
Let's go. I got you. Take care. Let's go have some good food.
Speaking of the Donna Connors tournament, I've got to say that that's probably one of the I have never seen anybody that can promote an event like Donna Connors
Wow.
did.
Yeah.
And seriously, Houston Knights or anybody that's near Houston on next weekend, go watch this event.
Wow.
Go to the Pro-Am.
Oh.
The raffles and the things and the money that she raises, all for the love of bowling and for the love of her dear friend that passed away with the battle of breast
Lucy-
cancer. Yeah.
I can never say the last name correctly.
Lucy
but no.
Yeah, and we are pairing it. All the money that she raises from the Lucy Bonneau tournament is going to go to the Huntsman Cancer Institute, which, if you're following us, everyone, support our Paint the Lanes Pink and our products that are have the breast cancer logo on it.
Yes.
Everything is going to the Huntsman Cancer Institute, which is one of the premier research facilities on all forms of cancer.
Wow.
So we are supporting breast cancer research, but we are also supporting, we lose too many people to too many.
Bad diseases.
Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah. So come on out and and have a great time. If you haven't signed up for the Pro-Ams, I'm sure you already, that it's already full.
It's full, but you know what? Just being in that bowling center when this tournament's going on,
It's crazy.
whether it's the Pro-Am or just the tournament itself, it's an experience you will never experience anywhere else.
When I first went to her tournament, we've sponsored it all but her very first year. And I knew that. I think it's 17 years, and we've sponsored it for 16. And early on, I would just go sit in the bowling center and just watch. And, the people, she is just tenacious. She is just a promoter, and she just does not take no.
And she doesn't stop.
She
The day
just
after
doesn't.
is the
No.
day that the next tournament starts for her.
She is, yeah, you're right. The
It-
very next
yes.
day she's planning.
Wow.
Yeah, she's planning TV in 2020. She's got people
TV,
that,
huh?
Yeah.
All right.
She's going, you know what? I'm not going to be, I'm going to be on TV. So she's got people there, and I won't be able to make it this year because of my travel schedule and the fact that we are, we're right in the middle of trying to build foundations up in Wyoming. It's a 2.5-hour drive, so I've got to get them started up there because the season is pretty slow. Pretty,
Gotta get some more fish in that pond, girl.
Yeah, well, in Wyoming, it's they've got two distinct seasons. It's snow and kind of good weather. So
Kind of good weather.
Still gotta get some more fish in that pond so the
Yeah.
big man can catch some of those
Yeah.
fish.
So he doesn't have to go ice fishing.
Her ears are ringing. There she
Hi,
is.
Miss Danielle.
Her ears are ringing.
Would
We were
you
talking
like to-
about you.
Hi. Would you like? Nobody wants to hear from me anymore. I've given all my philosophical things. Would you like the microphone? Well, all right.
She's got her brother bowling right now, and he's
Oh.
trying to make the cut.
Uh-oh.
So
Their
and
lanes
she's-
are
and
their
she-
lanes are screwed up though.
And
I
she's
think.
been helping him the whole time. So
Her little sister too.
yeah, her little sister and brother are both in the hunt to make the finals
Wow.
here.
Under
so.
12 and under 15.
Yeah, her mom's back here, and so is her stepdad here. They're all here. So, and they're great people. That's her stepfather right there, Bob Verano.
Where?
Right there,
Right here
just walked
walking.
by. That guy right there.
Oh.
Great man, and that lady in the black dress is her mother.
Oh, that's Danielle's mom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw her on TV last week, and I couldn't remember who she was. so-
Super nice lady. Great people. See, there's the coaching.
Yep. There you go.
All right. Well, Timmy and Barb left us, so we have 2 new guest stars, Danielle McEwen.
Hi, guys.
And her mother, Susan Verano.
Hello out there.
We're gonna pound Susan for some questions, behind the scenes parents questions.
Okay, first question. Mom, how crazy do I drive you? On a scale of 1 to 10.
Second question.
Uh-oh. Yeah, so if anybody has questions for, as a parent to a amazing bowler, Danielle McEwen, what it's like for her mom, send them in. But Susan, what do you feel when you were watching your kids bowl?
Oh,
Especially now that you got 2 bowling at the same time.
yeah. This has been a little crazy this week. We've come out here 3 or 4 times with Danielle, and then Nick came out last year, and this year with Nick and Victoria. It was a lot more. It was a lot more practice sessions and more squads and more 5 a.m. mornings and more 12 o'clock nights eating cereal to get up for those 5 a.m. mornings. But all well worth it. I mean, it's such an amazing experience to be out here. I saw how much it helped Danielle and how much she gained from it. And she wasn't doing it at their age. She bowled her first junior gold when she was in high school, almost high school into college.
Yeah.
So the fact Victoria's getting this experience and, learning the pressure and learning, just everything that goes with it at 11, I can only imagine that's going to make her so much stronger mentally, physically, intellectually, even just what she's learning from it. So
Yeah, and just in the social atmosphere of it, getting out here, seeing everybody, and making new friends that could last a lifetime out here.
Yeah.
You never know.
She really has. They have their own little group. It's almost funny. We go to all these major tournaments, and it's Parker's kids and Wes's kids and, my kids. And, it's a nice little group that they formed because they get to see each other, at different occasions.
Yeah.
So, and they, other than that, they don't see each other. So,
Yeah.
it's almost like a special time.
It is. More moments to enjoy.
It's funny looking back at that when I think back to my junior gold experience and all the girls I bowled against. You saw them all through college bowling, and now you see them out on the PWBA tour. So it's it's the competitive friendships that drive you, that you'll compete against for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it is. My best friend is, besides Lindsay, but my other best friend, Ashley, I met her in college, and we've been inseparable the whole time, so that's just college. So I can imagine what Victoria's going to be going through, only at 11 years old, and coming up through here for the next 9, 10 years maybe, And whether or not she goes on to bowl, it's still an experience that she's going to take with her wherever she goes.
And I really feel like this helps in every aspect of your life. If you're mentally sound enough to be able to come out here and deal with, hundreds and hundreds of people that you're bowling against and kind of be able to keep your focus through. We're going on 7 days now. This is day 5 of competition, but I can honestly say I think the 2 practice days were almost as taxing as the competition days. So you had a small amount of time to figure out a lot of things that you needed to take into the week. So, there was a lot of note taking and a lot of brainstorming, and I think that's all important. That goes through every aspect of your life: the socialization, the dealing with defeat, the handling the pressure. It's all good stuff, and I hope that they can take that into other areas of their lives.
I'm sure that they will, seeing how Danielle has progressed and
I think that
everything
helps
that
them
she's
too.
done,
Wes said something very interesting on the live stream last night. We went back and watched it afterwards, and he said that Victoria seems very cool to have been in this situation for the first time, but she's witnessed it so many times, sitting behind Danielle and Marshall and watching what they do. And
I'm sure she visualized herself one time of being in that situation.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
What is the biggest thing that you bring?
Definitely not my knowledge of bowling. Which is really a bonus, I think, for the kids. I'm the one that kind of talks them off the ledge and, claps feverishly and says stupid things that makes them laugh at the wrong time. She's shaking her head.
I have a whole book of those.
I don't really know which pin is which. I can't tell them which ball to switch to, and I can't tell them which line to play. So, you know, kind of like a mother teaching a kid how to drive. Like sometimes it's better if you don't. So that takes me out of that whole equation. I just sit back and clap and root them on.
What advice would you give to parents, whether it's their first junior gold, their 8th junior gold, you know, like maybe to have their child enjoy it more?
You really have to try to. And I know anybody that has that competitive fire, that's really hard to say, just go out there and have fun. It doesn't matter. Just go out there. A lot of kids at this level, you know, they're just going to shake their head and not be able to do that. But I found with Danielle, I found with Nick, and now I'm seeing it with Victoria, they managed to put enough pressure on themselves that I don't have to. A lot of people have said to me, you know, what did you do with her when she was young? How did you get her to be motivated, or how did, you know, what drove her? It was definitely nothing I did.
It was her own drive,
yeah,
her own heart.
I was the one that kept saying, you know, you need to relax. Maybe don't practice today. Maybe take a vacation. Maybe, you know, that came from within her. I think I just helped her, you know, maybe focus a little bit or channel it a little bit. But I do see, you know, sometimes in every sport, my kids play other sports, and a lot of times it seems like it's almost more important to the parents than it is to the kids. And when it becomes that, the kids feel that pressure, and it's really hard. It's hard for these kids to do that.
Yeah.
They're in competition with themselves. They're in competition with their friends. My biggest worry this year was I have 2 of them coming out here. What if one does really well and the other one doesn't? What's that going to do to our family dynamics? You know, when one's sulking and the other one's happy, and then the one that's happy can't feel happy because she feels bad. But, you know, I mean, I'm glad they both did well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's a tiring week. It's a long week. You know, but I think parents just need to give them the freedom to do what they want to do. If this is what they're going to, this is going to be their thing in life, they'll take it to where they need to take it to, and you just kind of have to be there to support them and try not to push too hard. Try not to show the disappointment when you're disappointed. Try not to show the aggravation when you're aggravated, because you'll feel every emotion out here. It's a long week.
Yes.
It's hard on everybody.
I agree 100% with you. I know, like when we did the spirit tours, you know, I was very adamant about that with the parents, like just get off their backs a little bit. Let them enjoy this time that they're out here, that they work so hard to be at.
Yeah, your heart has to be there. They have to be wanting to do it for themselves, not for someone else or for some other reason. The kids that are out here that are doing good, their heart's really in it.
And you can see that. You can see it on the lane with the ones that have that.
Sure.
But
I mean, you would never expect them to not have a good day and walk away and be happy. I mean, a true competitor is never going to be that. But,
never.
You know, if this is something you're going to do for your life, or something that's part of your life, you have to learn how to channel it.
Yes.
Just, you know, take your time to be sad, take your time to be disappointed, learn from it. There's always something to learn from every experience, and move along.
Yes. Yes, definitely moving.
Yes.
You got to move on. That's a key factor that.
It is. I mean, you know, no one's going to come out here and win every year.
Yeah, and the parents have to move on too. They
Yes.
can't linger on what happened the day before or the frame before even.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Be that person for them.
Right. And also remember that for the most part, I mean, there are, you know, in the under 20 division, there are some that are kind of hitting that threshold of adulthood, but they're kids.
Yeah, they're still kids.
They're going to learn from it. You know, they're just kids. They get disappointed. They're, you know, I look back to what I was doing at this age, at 11, and, you know, my son's 13, almost 14. I couldn't handle something like this. You know, I had trouble deciding what I wanted for dessert, you know. Never mind figuring all this out and what goes into it.
Oh. I don't know. Do you have any questions for your mom, Danielle, that you ever wanted to ask her?
Oh.
Well, while we're on the whole
spot.
junior gold topic, I did have an idea that would be probably a good just topic conversation to bring up. Considering most of the people listening right now are most likely at home, maybe people who didn't make it out here this year for whatever reason and are saying, why would I want to go out there? You know, what's something you could tell them that would make it worth it for them to not push their kids, but allow their kids or encourage their kids to come out here next
to
year.
give them the opportunity to do that. Yeah, I mean, I was scared to death when she started qualifying for these things. I remember one of the first things she qualified for, I went to the guy and I said, okay, well, what does she do now? And he said she made the national final. She's going to Las Vegas.
Now you're an expert at it.
She's going to Las Vegas. My eyes almost rolled out of my head. I go, what do you mean she's going to Las Vegas? Well, that's where the tournament is. What do you mean?
I left that part out when I said, Mom, can you drive me to this event?
She didn't tell me.
By the way, we might have to fly to Vegas then.
But you know what? I could have very easily on that first one said, you know what, you're not ready. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe, we talked about it. She knew the commitment she had to make in order for us to go there, and we did. And, it's just kind of been one of the stepping stones that went to everything else. Not everybody has all the money. Not everybody has the opportunity and the time off. We had plenty of kids from our bowling center at home that qualified, and the parents just couldn't get 10 days off from work.
Yeah.
Or there was other family obligations or whatever. But if you can, not do everyone, but if you can give your kids the opportunity to do something like this, I guarantee you, beyond a doubt, that it will be a positive experience for them. They may leave disappointed, they may not be happy with where they finished, but they will look back and say, I got something out of that, because there's just no way you can't.
Yeah, I mean, there's some kids that, unfortunately, they didn't get to qualify.
Right.
I was actually told a statistic today that there's actually 3,700 kids that qualified for junior gold this year, and there's only 3,290 bowling.
Yeah.
So, that's an extra 500 kids that should be here.
Yeah.
But like how you said, they might not funds.
Right.
The economy is not the greatest, but I've seen a lot of GoFundMe accounts where kids are trying to raise the money themselves because their parents just can't get there, which that's a shame, but
it is. But if you can do it in, even if only one parent comes, like we kind of tend to, bring the family, the boyfriend, the dog, everyone.
Literally
everyone came. Because we try to, support each other, and they're all involved in it. There were times when she was bowling, I drove out here with, I remember, whoever was bowling junior gold with her still remember seeing my two girls laying on a blanket, at the end of the settee area. Because I would drag them here whatever time she was starting, an hour before, not having breakfast, probably not even have done their hair yet, still in their pajamas. I would put the blankets out, and they would, when they woke up, we would go and get breakfast, and that's what we did. We just I always try to give them whatever they feel like they want to do. Try to give them the opportunity. Whether it be bowling or school or, dance, whatever
sport
baseball,
it is.
softball, you need help, you're in a funk, you need a lesson, you need a tutor. If we have to make cuts out elsewhere, that's what we try to do. Just to, you just want to give them every avenue you can. This, yes, again, I'm going to reiterate, if you can have the opportunity, if your child, this is something that they want to do, there are so many stepping stones that came from this.
As we said in the past, this tournament can open up so many doors. Just the learning, the life lessons outside of bowling, the life lessons inside of bowling. It can branch off to other tournaments. It could branch off to Junior Team USA. It could branch off to collegiate bowling. There's a ton of college coaches out here, and they're looking at the under-12 division. They're not ready to go to college anytime soon, but if you impress their coach, you know what? They're going to be wanting to talk to you.
They're going to remember the name.
They're going to remember your name 6-8 years from now, whatever it is.
I know, just for my nephews, they're, oh dear Lord, 14, 13, both 14 and 13, 3 of them are. But, they already have their college coaches recruiting them for baseball because they're very, very talented at baseball. And my brothers are like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, you're going to need to start doing this and this and this. And by NCAA rules, you can't do this, this, and this, and this.
Right.
But, but yeah. All different sports, you see it. For sure.
And like Danielle said, they'll look. Were you a one-hit wonder last year? Did you just do well?
Did you have your week?
Did your under 12 turn to under 15 and you did well there? They're going to remember your name.
Yep.
And what an amazing outreach is that for, especially for collegiate bowling and how big that's gotten? I mean, you guys both came up the ranks and you're coaching now, and
Yeah.
like there's just so many opportunities there for both men and women, and yeah, like she said, what junior team turning into adult team and the traveling that goes with it. It's just
Yep.
it's a stepping stone, and everybody needs those solid stepping stones. So this is definitely a huge one.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
they may-
too many people that can come from this world, this bowling world, and kids that have been successful having not done this. I don't know the statistics on that, but I'm sure there's not many, if any.
No, I can't imagine it's very high.
No. I forgot what I was going to say now.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll probably think of it like 10 minutes from now.
Well, we'll still be here chatting then, so
Yeah.
just bring it up then.
What happens when you start getting old? Do we have a question, Paul?
Yeah, so Danielle, you've been kind of on a hot streak.
Kind of.
In the PWBA, winning everything it seems like. What's kind of been your biggest moment in this last year, you feel like?
It's a hard one. This last year, I mean, it definitely looks like I've been on a hot streak. I had a bunch of wins, but in between those wins have been some pretty rough times, like bowling-wise. Like I've had a couple of physical breakdowns. I've had some fit issues. So I don't think I could say one of the wins was more significant than the others. It was just being able to prove to myself that even though, things are going wrong and I feel like everything kind of breaks down, I was able to figure it out and come back and do it again. So it was just kind of a confidence boost to know that it's not just when I'm bowling my best that I'm just going to run with it. I could still work through the hard times and still come out on top.
Right on. Okay. Also, we were talking about this earlier. Sorry.
Oh,
did I
no.
cut you
Go
off?
ahead.
I can't hear because when I talk in the microphone, it's like double echo. It's driving me nuts. So.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. So we were talking about this earlier, how you approach the sport of bowling, and you're very focused on being fit, very focused on what you eat, and like I think when we interviewed you for the warehouse sessions, you and Marshall were both very adamant that bowling is a sport, and it's 100%. You need to take care of your body. Can you just expand on that for these younger kids who are?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always kind of treated it that way. Going through NCAA in college, that's the first time I really started working out and learning how important it is to be physically fit and your body to be in shape, because those long days and long weekends, I mean, your legs and your back feel it if you're not prepared for it. And that's really just, I've carried that into my professional career. We still have long weekends and we have long weeks, and my body needs to be able to handle that and my brain needs to be able to handle that. I think at this point, most of my workouts are more to challenge me mentally and to see that I can push past something or improve in an area more than it really is to help my physical game in bowling. It's definitely more just to challenge me and, of course, keep me in shape in the meantime. But I truly do believe that bowling is a sport. I mean, you have to be healthy, you have to be fit, you have to be in shape, you have to be strong mentally, physically in order to, not just have one good game, but have a good game 8 at the U.S. Open. That's when it's important. So.
And that's what's cool. I mean, my kids have the benefit of seeing that too. They're probably get a little bit more of a perspective on something like that than a lot of kids that are here. But, at any given moment, Danielle will be reading something in a book, and, maybe the whole book's not good for Nick, or, Tor's not going to understand the entire thing, but she might come across a paragraph or a quote or something, and she'll say, here, read this. Read this and see if you can get something out of it. See if it's something that you can think about when you're competing or when you're getting really down on yourself. Like, there's always the need to find something within you to kind of get past that. And, like I said, some of it's heavy, and I'm sure some of it is just a simple little sentence that sometimes you can just think of in that moment when you've thrown 3 opens and you just want to, leave. So I think
Actually
that
did
helps
that
them a
this
little bit.
morning. I sent Nick a quote. Was it this morning or yesterday? I don't know. All these days are blending at this point. But I sent him a quote. It was, if whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, that's what you will do. And I was like, you know what? I'm not really sure if he's really gonna grasp that. But I'm gonna do it anyway. With the chance that it will. And he was like, in the middle of the block, he goes, that's my screensaver, and that's I've been thinking that all day. And he was bowling good at that time, and I'm like, thank God I sent it. It worked. Like, that's the greatest feeling.
Looks like we have a little backup delay. Is that what's
Yeah,
going on?
I don't know what.
If they're waiting for some.
I think they got the lanes mixed up, or I don't know what happened. Maybe they were bowling on lanes they bowled on already. I'm not sure what happened here.
Okay.
But
It's like they're
just
trying to
another
figure
delay.
it out.
That's okay. It's all right.
Well, while we wait for the action to start, Danielle, it seems like you probably could have like a travel show on the Travel Channel. How much
That would be
you're on
cool.
the road and doing cool things too. So can you just expand on like how do you manage traveling so much with bowling, and then what are the things that you do outside of bowling to kind of refocus you or
Okay.
keep you?
So the second question first. Outside of bowling, in regards to travel, I've come to the conclusion that I would be the best travel agent in the world if I ever needed to, pick up something like that. Because when I'm home, our tour goes Thursday till Sunday, and for the most part, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are spent on the United website or Expedia or Hotels.com or something along those lines.
When she calls United, they say, "Welcome back, Danielle."
They do.
The automated machine says, "Welcome back, Danielle."
So, like you said, we all know how much I'm traveling, and I don't have someone booking it for me. I'm doing it all the work. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of, writing out the numbers and trying to price it out and making sure you're getting there at the right dates, which I sometimes mess up because it's a little confusing, but it always works out in the end. What was the first question now?
He doesn't even.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. How do you manage, like, getting to a new location, new lanes, those sorts of deals, like arriving in a place, having to bowl competitively, and then, deal with being tired or whatever else?
So we're very fortunate that with the PWBA season, we're traveling every weekend. So once you kind of get into the groove and you have your schedule set, you just it gets into a routine. You know that you're going to fly on Thursday, you land there, it's practice, you start the next day. It all kind of becomes routine. You're in a different place every week, so it's not really like an adjustment. I'm out of my comfort zone every weekend, as if that's kind of how you're looking at it. So it becomes your comfort zone, just bowling somewhere different constantly. Traveling internationally is definitely a little more challenging because you have time change and climate change and everything that goes along with it. So just try not to pay too much attention to it. I try to just enjoy the experience and, make it a positive. I'm on the other side of the world and it's 12 hours to back home, whatever. They're time zones, and try different food. And I love the experience of it. I love traveling, so I just try to make every trip not 100% about bowling, more about the experience and wherever I am, making sure we see cool things and do fun stuff.
Which took them a while to learn, because I remember the first few trips they went on, they did nothing. They stayed in the hotel, they ate, they bowled, they came home. And
that was my first overseas trip, where I don't know why I ever went overseas again after that trip. It was awful. Awful. It was all bowling. We showed up just ready to bowl. We just bowled. There was horrible hours of when our squads were. I didn't eat all week, and then we flew home, and I bowled bad. So it was awful. And so I'll never do that again. Next time we go, we're gonna make sure there's a mini trip tagged onto where we have a plan to do something fun. So, even if bowling goes bad, we're gonna see the country. We're gonna do something we were there. We might as well
experience.
Yeah.
It's kind of what Barb was saying earlier with when she travels and does everything. So, she gets to be someone different when it's not bowling related.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
And you need that. You need that when you're going at that pace, and it's exhausting, and you have something to look forward to, and you have some cool pictures to send home. And she came home, and I was like, what do you mean you went all the way over there and you didn't see anything? Like, there had to be something touristy that you could have said, I went here, or I saw this.
She learned.
Now they do that times 10, but.
Do you have a favorite place you've been?
I don't have one particular favorite place. I kind of have favorite places for different reasons. I love Japan. For the food. Love food in Japan.
Loves Thailand because that's where she kind of had her first date with
Yeah,
Marshall.
Marshall and I have some history in Thailand, so that's definitely has a place in my heart. I really like pretty much anywhere in Europe just to kind of see the culture and go sightseeing. Just beautiful, beautiful places to see. And I really like the Middle East. I really like Qatar. I feel like it's a really beautiful place, and it's quiet and safe, and it's contrary to a lot of people's beliefs, but it's really, really awesome over there, and I look forward to going back there. It seems like we go there twice a year at this point, and it's definitely one of my favorite places to go back.
We were actually talking about that tournament in the big sales meeting that we had. So all the salesmen flew into Utah, and we had like a 2-day conference. And Tim Mack was actually bringing up that tournament. He just said it, like, you'd be surprised at just how awesome that tournament is. So, yeah. I mean, I know that you had mentioned before that you really like that tournament, and it's well beloved by a lot of people. So.
Absolutely. I know. I think starting this year, we're going for that particular event. It's going to be in a different bowling center, which I'm sure will be beautiful. But even the bowling center is just really cool how it's set up. It's kind of you walk in up top, you go downstairs, and it's almost like bleachers on the outside, but on the inside is like a glass box of these beautiful gold like recliner chairs, and it's really cool. It's like more for like a spectator to look at than a traditional bowling alley you would see here in the U.S. So it's just different.
Very cool.
So Susan, do you try to make junior gold into mini trips?
I have been fortunate enough to follow her around the world to some pretty cool places.
Yeah.
With the other kids getting busier and it's getting harder, I try certainly to support the Team USA events. I was lucky enough to go to 2 World Cups. I went to Siberia in Russia. I went to Poland.
In February. No, in November. Sorry, November.
November.
Same cold month.
Same cold. And I went to the Women's World Championships in Abu Dhabi this past December, which was amazing. It was amazing to be there and watch what transpired. A couple of PABCONs, Colombia, Dominican Republic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And a few of the women, more than a few of the women's stops. Whenever I can, now my kids are like, which one do we get to go to? So I have to, it's not only me. I have to take someone along with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to do as much as we can. This year, both Nick and Victoria made all-stars for baseball and softball, so there was, quite a few weekends that we were tied up for that and didn't get to see as many as we wanted to. But I think I still owe Victoria one, so she's planning on either the U.S. Open or the Lucy. She keeps asking me if I've booked something. But yeah, I mean, I was never one that wanted to leave the town. I was never a big traveler. And the first year, she made the junior team, and was chosen to go to the World Championships in Thailand. I said, have to go. But you can't have your kid do something like that and not go. So I sat at the computer, and I remember her saying to me, I looked at every airline, at every flight, at every seat on every flight.
Seat
and she was
guru,
like,
reading about, row 21, seat B.
I was going to be in that seat for
not
21
right.
hours. I wanted to make sure it was a good seat. And she was like, look, either you're going to do this or you're not going to do this. Just press the button. If you're going to go, just press the button and say you're going to go. And I did. So my first time out of the country, I flew to Thailand by myself.
That's
yes.
That's pretty big.
It was a big trip. That was a big trip.
Would
so.
you go Newark to Japan to Narita, right?
To Narita.
Barely made your layover. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure that was the trip you got escorted to the next plane by someone that didn't speak English.
Because, of course, she let me, push the button by myself. And then she said, you can't have a 1-hour layover in an international trip. And I went, oops, why not? Like, that's what they said was there. That's what I did. And she was like, and then we left JFK 2 hours late. So that kind of affected my 1 hour layover. So now I'm petrified in a plane for 14 hours having a heart attack that once I miss my flight,
You're going to be stuck in some country.
Who am I going to call? Who's going to come get me? But it all worked out fine, and I made it there, and they won some medals that year, and that was awesome. So I've seen some pretty cool stuff. Again, thanks to this tournament.
Yes.
Thanks to this
So,
tournament.
not just for the juniors, can lead for some good trips for the parents that can afford to do that and, spend some more time with their kids with these incredible moments that they get to have.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, and at every aspect you say, like, this could be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. My husband's getting a little tired of the once-in-a-lifetime things because, I'm having trouble pulling them off at this point. But could be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I have to go. But, yeah, it's all cool.
So we have a question coming in from the chat, and David is asking, how does it feel going from junior gold to now being a role model to so many of the young women coming up in this sport?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, I have people that will reach out to me on social media, younger kids and everything, and either ask questions or just say, I watched you on TV and it's so awesome to see you bowl. I look up to you, and those messages are the coolest things in the world to get. They're things that, you never think that anyone would ever say that to me. So to actually read that is really, really cool. This week has been completely overwhelming. Every bowling center I walk into, there's people that are just, Danielle, I watch you bowl and I can't wait. I want to be just like you. Like, just things like, they almost take your breath away that, these little kids, that I'm that person that they look up to. It's a really, really cool feeling.
I think especially since it wasn't that long ago, right? It was only...
No, absolutely not.
We were trying to think.
People don't realize how young you are.
She probably bowled her last junior gold less than 5 years ago.
5 or 6 years, I think.
Yeah. So to be, the person that was here sweating it out, to be the person that everyone's turning their heads to see, especially the young girls. They're just
my siblings find it funny. When we first got here, everyone was asking for my autograph, and Nick's like, what are you doing? Like, they want your autograph, really? Why? I'm like, thanks, bud.
How does that feel as a mom, seeing that sort of reaction to her?
It's probably more unbelievable to me than it is to her. It's just, she's very grounded and very, a lot of times she doesn't even tell me things that are said, but I try to help her out with her social media, and I see some of the, the questions that come in and the comments that come in, and, she always tries to answer as many as she can in between traveling and stuff, and just to see how much it means to people. I've had parents come up to me here and in other places that are like, my daughter sent a message to Danielle and she wrote back, or she asked for advice and she wrote back, or she asked for something and, how much it meant to them. And, I mean, the bowling world's a very small world. I don't particularly think that people look at bowlers like they do if it's Derek Jeter or somebody a big. But yet there was a 2.5-hour line at the Storm booth the other day of people waiting to see
for Belmo
and Marshall and Patrick, and that's amazing. That's really amazing, and I think that's great for the sport.
And they all stood in line until they got there.
That is crazy.
And they all stood there waiting for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to have even the bowlers stand there and to give that time and
yeah,
to
the
embrace the
professionals,
people that are coming in.
You don't get in other sports.
No.
You don't. They're like, my hour's up.
The only thing I could kind of put into perspective with that was we went to CMA Fest, Country Music Festival. All the artists are there playing, and every once in a while they do like a pop-up autograph session, or sometimes you knew about it. And Florida Georgia Line is my favorite. I would love to see them. I'd love to meet them. the line was 2 hours. It's like, there's no way I could stand in line in the hot sun for 2 hours. These people think that much of bowling. They're that much bowling fans, and that's how awesome our sport is, that they would do that. I think that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yep, it is. When I saw the post, I was like, what? Like, is that
really
real?
cool.
Is that real? Because it was like the fast.
Yeah,
I was like,
gotta read it twice.
yeah.
Yeah, that line actually got up to like 3.5 hours.
Wow.
By the end, and we had to close it down because you couldn't make it through
Yeah.
in time. But
So Belmo needs like his own booth then.
I don't know what needs to happen, but it was pretty cool to see that whole day, and then the next day in the park, just to see them be able to interact with you guys like that, and that you and everyone else were willing to sit out in the hot sun and all day long and just hang out. That was really cool to see.
And again, these are people these kids look up to. They're people that these kids hope to emulate someday, and to be like, hey, this guy was pitching a wiffle ball to me. He's a real guy. Like, this could really happen. I mean, I don't know how many other sports you can look at. I'm sure every young boy wants to be a professional baseball player. How many is that going to happen for? What are the odds that would really happen? But knowing that there's people like Danielle and Marshall and Elisa and all these people that are young that have accomplished this and are professionals now, I think it just gives them a little bit more of a closer perspective and a little bit more hope that, this is attainable, where some things I'm not sure are.
Sure. So one thing I've been noticing all day is lots and lots of two-handers. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know if it's a recent uptick in two-handers, but yeah, what are your thoughts on that? And also, what is this? We've seen some recent videos of Marshall two-handing stuff. What's going on?
I think this is definitely the generation that kind of grew up watching Belmo Bowl, and it's something different, something cool, so why not go and try it? And I think we're just going to see more and more of them coming up over the next few years. The cool thing about this week is there was actually, for the first time, I saw a lot of girl two-handers, which I've never really seen before, so I thought that was really cool to see. It was just different. My take on it, a lot of people have very strong feelings either way. I feel like the object is to knock 10 pins down, and if you can do this and knock the pins down, then why wouldn't you do that? Why would you do something else? So, and Marshall's actually really good at two-handed. I don't really know how he picked it up. I think he just started messing around, but he bowled the whole tournament two-handed and made the cut once. We were over in Germany, and I don't remember what happened. He fell and he hurt his thumb, and he couldn't put his thumb in the ball. We were in Germany. We're all the way over there. So he was like, you know what, I'm just going to re-enter and bowl two-handed and just give it a shot, and made the cut. Pretty sure he might have made more than one cut. I don't remember how he finished, but he bowled really good. All the guys were kind of laughing. Oh, he's going to bowl two-handed? Is he serious? And then they're watching his scores, and they're like, he has a front 8. He's serious.
At Bowl Expo, he was at the industry showcasing that we had with all the different brands. I'm pretty sure I saw him bowl two-handed there more than regular. So.
That sounds about right. Especially in a situation like that where he can show off something different, and I'm sure they were bowling a lot, so give his thumb some rest in the meantime.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to like how we were talking about the fun aspect of having fun during practice. You pick up something different that you didn't realize you could do, or that you can do really well, and it takes you to a different level, so you never know. It doesn't hurt to try something.
Absolutely. I don't tend to do that all that much. Saying it that way makes me want to, but I have seen him in particular do that all the time, where he'll get up and throw a strike as a backup ball and then get up and throw. Think about the release versatility you have to have in order to be able to do that. Like, that's, if you can work on something like that, it's only going to make you better once you learn to control it.
And we've just come to the conclusion that Marshall's naturally good at everything. We have not found anything that he's not good at yet. Kind of annoying, but
doesn't work for me being competitive. I lose a lot of stuff with him.
I think that's how it is in a lot of relationships. A lot of athletes, whether it's bowlers too, or
But
baseball,
I mean,
softball, tennis, golf.
the kids will come home. I'm playing tennis. I play tennis, and he'll show them what he knows, and right down to musical instruments and everything. He's so versatile with what he knows and what he can do that it's great. It's really great.
Find something one day. And then I'm going to want to do it every day just so I could win
maybe
once.
he can't crochet.
Well, I can't either. So, Grandma, you'll have to help me out with that one.
Yeah, I get Grandma on that one.
I actually just started knitting.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can help me out. There we go. I'll pick up that. And
it's okay. It's a little boring.
By the time you do, Marshall will be like, I've already made 6 blankets. So they're on the bed at home.
Oh, yeah, I can do that all. No, that's what he'll be like, yeah, I made you this.
Yeah. I could have told you that years ago.
It's good. You need, especially now with what you guys are doing and your schedule, I think you kind of need something to kind of do in your downtime, something to kind of get your mind into something else.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah. I believe it. I mean, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to, like we were talking earlier about, being out there week after week and not having any type of downtime if you're out there all the time. And I mean, I just went through it and I'm going to learn from it. I had to take 2 weeks off because I'm going through a lot of stuff, but whatever you have to do, you have to do to better yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't let it get in the way of your dreams or your future or, whatever the next day. Because you don't know what's going to happen the next day. You never know. So,
you never know. No.
So, especially in the world that we live in now. But
absolutely.
We won't get so deep anymore. We were getting super deep with Barb.
It's scary. It's scary to look on social media. It's scary to watch the news.
Just another lesson for parents. Just let your kids enjoy this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's your favorite part about Junior Gold?
I mean, obviously, you want your kids to do well, and you want them to smile when they're bowling. I don't typically have kids that smile when they're bowling, just because of their competitiveness. I love seeing them with their friends. I love seeing the after squad. We're literally, and she yells at me all the time, we're the last ones out of the bowling alley. No matter what. No matter what bowling center we're in, the kids are off in a direction. We're talking with the parents. For me, it's great. There are a lot of people that she went to college with that have younger kids. I'm still seeing some of the faces from when she bowled. The kids were much younger. I could literally walk up and down and have a conversation with 20 people by the time I moved the 5 pairs because, again, it's a small world. It's like a family situation. You might only see people once or twice a year. This might be the only time you see them. The kids have the opportunity to keep in touch so much more now with all of the social media that's out there. I know Victoria's always, reaching out to this one. She knows everything. Anything that's going on in the bowling world, Victoria knows before we know. But I think that's, it goes back to these are going to be their peers. If this is what they're going to do, these are the people they're going to see. Year in, year out, tournaments, and build friendships. And it's nice that they're starting this young with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. Again, the lessons learned.
Okay, we have a... Oh, hang on. All right, I learned the lesson of the headphones.
Lessons learned.
Whoa. Okay, we have a question from the chat room that I'm not sure if you guys know the answer to. Danielle might, but
oh boy.
They see a Canada jersey out there. How many countries are participating in Junior Gold this year? I don't see us knowing. Sorry, guys.
Deer in headlights look right now.
Yep,
I saw Canadian. Are there any Puerto Rico?
There is. There was.
All right, so we got 3 countries.
Under 12, and there was an under 12 wearing a Puerto Rico shirt.
I think
that might be it.
I think that's normally all that it is. I mean, I know in my years that I bowled, that's all I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised to see anyone else.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question.
Or we could sit and look through the 3,000 names and addresses and let you know in a little while.
Let's see.
It was funny. I was reading something on social media today that JJ, John Jadowitz wrote about how awesome things were this year and how things have changed, and that is for sure. You know, you don't see people from year to year, and you know, my son in particular, can't tell you the amount of people that have come up to me and said, "Didn't he bowl under 12 last year?" Yeah, he did. Wasn't he like a foot and a half shorter last year? Yeah, he was. You know, they change a lot.
Yeah.
I told Nick I don't remember which number it was, but one of them was the kids being taller than him and looking at their chin while he's talking, and I was like, that was you, Nick. That's for you.
I can only imagine what Wes's son feels like, Jordan.
Yeah. The under 12 division lined up across the front of the lanes earlier, and he was a solid foot taller than the next tallest one.
And the funny part was I saw him this morning, and I told him because he bowled against Nick last year, and they were about the same size. So this year I'm looking for his name under 15, and I can't find him. I'm like,
I think we looked under 20 before we went down.
I said, did he move up? So I think we did. You know, we were thinking he moved up rather than that would have been more logical than him moving down. And Victoria, of course, says, "Mom, he's 12." And we were like, "No, he can't be 12."
Victoria knows everything.
But yeah, it's amazing, and they grow and they mature and they get better. And you know, there was a couple of kids down here that I remember bowling when Danielle was bowling, and they were young. Like they were probably, you know, we're saying again, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 14, 15, they were bowling, and you know, now they're almost men. And
I'm getting to the point where I don't know many of the kids, so I'm feeling quite old. Here. I'm hanging on to the ones I do know.
You're barking up the wrong tree over there. If you're talking old, you're barking up the wrong tree.
All right, I have a question, and I don't know if it's been covered already. So, junior gold has obviously exploded in the last few years. What do you think this is going to do to the PBA and PWBA tours?
It's only going to help.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, it's hard to say on the guys' side, but I can definitely say from the girls' side, the change that I've seen from when I came out of college to the girls that are coming out of college now, it's a completely different mindset. We had nothing when we came out. Most of the girls I bowled with kind of stopped bowling. They just bowl league or for fun, but they don't bowl competitively. And now the girls have something to bowl, so they're not coming to their senior year like, oh, it's all over. They're coming like, okay, we're going to go out on tour next year and see what we can do.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that earlier with Tim and Barb, but and with Kelly too. I've been here for a long time.
Having the kids like this, you're just preparing them to move up into that. I mean, talk about a future for your sport. This is it.
Chad Murphy got it right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. This is, you're instilling in them right now what you need to build the professional tours for both the men and the women.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And there's not as many gaps of talent as there used to be. So just I'm very impressed with the under 15 girls that I saw this morning.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what's down there now, but
I was impressed with the under 12 group. I didn't really get to cross with the girls in under 15. I followed Nick and I followed Tor in under 12, and there were some girls there that were so mature and so good. They had such great physical games, and they're 12.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better, and their parents were I had a couple parents already asking me this morning for their daughters that, again, are 12. You know, what do you think about college bowling? What do you think about the tour? How'd you get involved in it? So they're planning from now. They're not. I played catch up. When I was in high school, I was like, oh, college bowling? Like, how do we do this? And trying to rush through it. And they're going to be well prepared for it, for college and for the tour.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so much more advertised. It's so much more well-known now. When she started looking at colleges and they were, you know, well, how did you do in Teen Masters? How did you do in Junior Gold? We didn't really know what it was.
Yeah.
We didn't come from an area, I mean, bowling is big, but league bowling is big. It wasn't sport bowling. We didn't really have a big handle on that. And, you know, to what it is now, I don't think there's anyone in the bowling world that doesn't know what Junior Gold is, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a really good thing.
I know when I started, you know, with Junior Gold, and that might have been one of the first years that I actually bowled junior gold, but not many of us knew what it was. It was very, very, very new, and we only had a small group of us go out, and it was in Reno, and I was like, all right, so I'm bowling against these girls. Okay. Did awful, and I was like, that's it.
Yep.
Like, you know, I'm not going to bowl this bad next year. And I only kept getting better and better with it. But, you know,
I hear that over and over again. That is the mindset of these kids. There's very few. I don't think I've heard of any of them that have said, I did awful and I'm not going back.
No.
I don't hear that. I hear, I did awful and I'm not going to do awful again. Now I know where I need help. Now I know which patterns I can't play.
Yeah.
I need to figure that out.
Yeah, I talked to a couple girls I know and a couple girls I just met. And a young 13-year-old, Paige Peters, she was watching her sister bowl. She goes, I'm bowling next year. And I was like, okay. All right.
That's awesome.
And I was like, well, it starts now then.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you know, the mentality that the younger kids have.
Yeah, and I think they just see the progress that people make year after year, and they get the feeling that, you know, this is something I can work hard at, and this is something I can do. And that's
especially the girls. Like, that's what I was getting to. The NCAA bowling was new when I was entered into college. It was the second year, I think, the second official year. Like, things finally got underway, and everything was new to everybody. And I'm like, what is this about? I only knew club sport.
Yeah.
That's all I ever knew. And I was like, all right, so you can get scholarship. Just how, you know, Danielle was like, oh, you can get scholarship money. Okay, that's cool. Oh, I can get that much?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
you put the work in and you have the grades. I mean, if you have the grades, it's even better.
Right. Yeah, amazing opportunities that are out there. And again, back to the stepping stone thing. This is a stepping stone for that.
And whether or not they go on to bowl after college, that's their choice. But if they do, even better. You know, now that there is the PWBA and the men have the PBA. But yeah, it's gonna. I think back on that topic, PBA and PWBA, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. I mean, the networking skills that are here, the ability for networking between other athletes, between parents, between the pros that are here, that you guys are nice enough to make yourself accessible. You know, the college coaches that come in, it's just like such a wealth of information that is here all the time.
And the young bowlers that are out there, if you're going to listen to this now or later, just walk up to anybody and just ask a question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you very rarely will be in any other sport. You'll be in the company of as many knowledgeable people as you will in the bowling world, and you know, it's great if you can utilize that.
Yeah, like even the Storm Day, you know, it's not just the athletes, but you know, the Storm and Roto Grip, how we had the employees there, the greatest minds of bowling,
and that's
right
all
there.
Part of it. That's all part of it. You know, it's not just about what you do; it's the knowledge that goes behind it, and the bowling balls, and the drilling, and the cores, and
the love of bowling can come in a different way for you afterwards. You never know where it can lead you, as you said before.
Yeah, lots of avenues, lots of roads that are open. And we have some happy people bowling in front of us, so that's nice to see.
I'm not sure if it's happy or just ready to be done.
Yeah, in either way.
It is getting 6:30. Not too terribly behind, I guess, for being the hour. What was it? Almost 2 hours?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit.
2. Blair's blinking 2.
Which worked out really well for me because Victoria was bowling in a different bowling center at 1:30, so we were definitely, you know, I was torn. I was there, but watching here, and so it kind of gave me time to get over here, which was nice. Not easy to make a decision between two kids when they're not in the same place.
That is a little rough. That is. How did Victoria finish up?
So proud of her. It's her first junior gold. She's 11 years old. She made the top 8. She made match play. Bowled against 2 absolutely amazing young athletes. Danielle and my husband, who are the knowledgeable ones about bowling, kind of the first day they were watching.
Before they even had scores on the board, we're just scanning. We're going that one and that one and that one.
Yep. pick them out. Unfortunately
first
for
two she
Victoria,
bowls.
she got both of them. She got the girl that led and one of the other really strong competitors, and she got run over a little bit. She held her own. She did a great job.
It
Danielle
happens
was
for a
proud of
reason.
her.
She might have met them for a reason too.
Yeah. And,
Absolutely. I'm a strong believer of that. Everything happens for a reason, good, bad. You might not know the reason of why it's happening, but one day you're going to look back and go, makes sense now.
Yeah. So, Cheery Mom told her last night that making the advancers round was icing on the cake, and making match play was the sprinkles on the icing, and whatever came after that was great. And she was, competitor over here was like, no, it's not.
I bit my tongue. I didn't say that to her.
We're here to win.
I thought it, just didn't say it out loud.
Okay. But yeah, I was really happy for her. And, even for Nick bowled under 12 last year. Him coming into this, he was like, wow, I'm going to be bowling against some older people. And, even the people that were moving up with me last year, I'm sure they got better. And, wasn't really sure where he was going to fit. But here we are in the final advancers round. And, not sure whether we're going to make it past this, but just making it to this, I feel like he exceeded his goal. And he should be able to walk away fairly happy with himself and how he performed. And, he's got another couple of years in this division. It's only going to get better.
Yeah. We learned a lot with both of them. We learned a lot of lane play. And, I mean, you can practice on the patterns all you want. It'll definitely make you stronger, but you don't learn how to adjust until you get out here in real life competition and
bowling with others.
When they get nasty and you're on a really rough pattern and people are playing them a little weird, even if they're breaking down the right way, you still need to know how to adjust to it. So
and play your own game.
Yes, absolutely.
Not
and
get
I
thrown
think
into their.
The most important thing we focused on with the two of them this week was just mental game. And there came times where it didn't matter what ball they had in their hand or what line they were playing, they had to be positive and just hit the head pin and make your spares. There was times that it was hard out there. And there was nothing that I could say or do that would make them hit the pocket and throw a double. But, hit the head pin, make your spare, 9 spare, 7 spare. That's awesome. Just keep working until it comes to you. And that's hard for them at that age to understand, especially, they're used to bowling. They grew up bowling on house shots. They can shoot 220 easily.
Yeah.
Not easily, but, their good games are 220. So to be like, just cross strike, awesome, yes. Like, that's not awesome.
So let's talk about, you guys you all worked with players this week, and you have to not only control your emotions, but you also have to kind of help them through their emotions. So do you want to kind of speak to how you did that and any advice for parents back home that might be watching about working with their kids?
It was definitely hard. I talked about that a lot after the blocks were over with Marshall and with my mom, and like, I'm so emotionally invested in them. I wanted to cry for Victoria today. She was crying, and I was like, hold it together. Like, she can't see me lose it, too. It's hard, though, because I have such a connection with them. I want them to do good, and every shot they throw, I'm throwing with them, and I have no control. I'm just standing in the back. So, but all I tried to do is just try to put positive spin on everything and really encourage them. I don't think I ever told them bad shot or even, they missed easy spares, but it happens, everyone's going to miss a spare. Just try to be positive, make the next shot better. And
I remember last year after she was behind Nick for the first time, she turned to me and said, I don't know how you do this. And and all I do is cheer. But she was, basically saying how hard it is to stand behind and not have the control and, to just watch what's going on and to try to give them the best. She's just so good with them. I watched them, miss a spare by a foot, and I looked at her face and she was like, okay, it's okay. Good job. Now we're going to learn from that. We're going to move on. We're going to leave that behind. We're going to move on to the next shot, where I'm like, my ears are turning red. Like, you want to say, how did you miss that?
Yeah.
It was the head pin. How did you miss it?
I wanted
and she
to,
was like,
but
oh, no, good shot. We're good.
That comes back to being a teammate in college bowling
Absolutely.
too, or high school bowling, whatever it may have been. Like you got to be like that then.
Yeah.
Even if you are the parent, the sister, the aunt, the niece, whoever you are to the person that's bowling, a friend, you just all right, like leave
It's
that there.
okay,
Let's
I got
go.
you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she was really good. She did like a little recap with them every night of, The first day, I think, when their head got in the way, they might have had a hiccup for a whole game. And then the next day, she was like, all right, the hiccup was only for 3 frames today. Like, that was an improvement. Like, that's where we need to be, you know.
Yeah.
So she was
Gives me
they're
a new.
so fortunate.
I've
to have
always
it.
respected them, and I've always admired what they've done. But it gives me a whole new respect for our tour reps that are out there with us every weekend.
Not
you
for
know.
Dell.
What?
Not for
Not for Dell. It does. You know, Tim, Jim, Dell, all of them. I've had them turn to me multiple times and, you know, throw their arms, and I hit my mark, and I'm like, you know, just, you know, they say comments like that are completely from left field, but I know what they're going through because I said it to Dell last weekend, and I'm like, you know what? He looked at me and he dealt with me, and I need to deal with them, and it's hard. It's really hard, and they don't just do it for me. I'm just doing it for them. They do it for me and 25 other people, and I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, you at least know your players, right? You know their personalities. You know.
Yeah,
what
I have
you can say,
I have
what
4
you
balls
can't
I'm
say.
working with in one person. They have hundreds of bowling balls to figure out and personalities, and you know I have to talk easy to this one and get aggressive with this one, and because everyone has different triggers, you can't talk to everyone the same.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. I see that just with coaching. You know, 9 to 12 different girls, and I'm like, okay, this one, if I make her cry, it's not going to end well. If this one, like, you know, not that I try to make them cry, but the way I talk to them, you know, and I learned real quick, not knowing how to learn, I just learned.
Right.
And, you know, that's...
Yeah, sometimes you have, you know who you have to put the pressure on in order to get them to perform, and you know if you put that pressure on somebody else, they're going to crumble. So
yeah, and you know who you want there and when you want them there.
Absolutely.
They might not have the greatest look, but you know if you need that 3 strikes in the 10th frame,
they'll find a way to get it done.
It doesn't matter how they're bowling; it's gonna get done.
Right.
Exactly what you said. And that's the enjoyment of being behind and not bowling and just seeing it. You know, so seeing their goals be obtained and achieved, and on
it's
to
all
the
about
next
those
one.
goals. I mean, everybody's got them, regardless of how small they are, how huge they are. And you just take one at a time. And you know, if your goal for this week was, you know, just doing the best you can and learning from it, and you did that, then that's great. If your goal was, you know, I didn't do well last year, I want to make the first cut, and you did, goal accomplished. You know, and you just got to take it one step at a time. You'll get there.
Yep.
You'll get there.
Yep. And for some players, all it takes is just, you know, tell them, oh, you know, just stay down in the shot.
Yep.
Stay down, just post it and relax. That's it. You know, like that's what I kept telling Trav's little brother, Jack. I don't care what anyone else is telling him. Just tell him those 3 things. Just do that, and you'll be okay. And sometimes that's all they need to hear. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes they want to hear you say something ridiculous or, you know, whatever it may be. But yeah, it's knowing your player, knowing your kid, whoever it is in front of you.
Yep. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Sometimes it's telling them just to use that ball that they used last time when they bowled good, even if it was on a different pattern. That was one of our more memorable junior gold stories. Was she bowled great on long, let's say, with this blue ball, and bowled great. And then the next day she was on short, not bowling so well, and I said, can't you use the blue ball?
That magical ball that works on everything.
On everything. We need
No,
one
it
of
does
those.
not work that way, Mom. Good try,
I know
though.
that now. It was a long time ago.
All right. I'm going to ask Victoria a question.
Oh.
Come here. What did you enjoy about this week? And what is the one thing you're going to take away from this week to work on for next year?
That
I put her on the spot. She's turning red.
Think it
well,
through.
I really like that. I like to compete. Like, so it was really fun because it's like the first year I ever got to do it, and that like I finished in this high of a place. I didn't really expect to do it.
Okay.
So next year I'm just gonna work on the longer patterns because I didn't know what to do. So
okay.
I tried to make it work, but it didn't work out. So I'm just gonna practice on that.
So you learned.
Yeah.
All right.
What's some mental game things that you learned from this week?
Don't lose your head. Keep it level, or else bad things will happen.
life
good.
lessons today from here at Storm.
Very good.
Can't think of anything else.
She's so happy.
What's something that you would tell everyone at home listening right now that would make them want to come out here and bowl next year? What's good about being here?
As much as people think how serious this tournament is, if you take it the right way and just have fun with it, you'll bowl good.
Wow. And that is coming from an 11-year-old.
Yep.
11, right? Yeah.
Good
You
work,
wanna be
Tor.
my coach? She's so proud right now. All right. Victoria, I want you to ask Danielle a question of anything that you would want to know about bowling or this week or anything like that.
How stressful is it having to deal with me and Nick?
That's a good question. She's so smart.
Like when we lose our head and stuff.
It is kind of stressful just because, this is my first time working with you in a tournament like this. I got to work with Nick last year, so I'm a little more familiar with him. But there was some times that, you lost your head a little bit, and I was a little worried that, is this going to last a frame? Is this going to last the rest of the game? And it was kind of trying different things to try to get you to come back. Sometimes I got a little aggressive with you and said, you're going to ruin it, cut it out. Other times I was like, you're okay, deep breaths, and it was just feeling what would work. But it was stressful because I didn't really know exactly what to do or say at first.
Danielle, on a level of 1 to 10, how crazy does she drive you? Since that's what you asked your mom. She's not going to answer.
I'm not answering.
She's got to be very careful
so-
with Victoria. Victoria takes good care of her.
She does.
We tease her when she moves out. She's going to take Victoria with her.
We
Absolutely.
talked about that
She
one
cooks.
night. We talked about that.
We did.
But if she thinks she's taking Victoria and Jasper, she's absolutely wrong. She doesn't get them both. Right? I said she can't have you and Jasper. Otherwise, she has to take me too.
Victoria, what's your favorite bowling ball?
IQ Tour?
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Absolutely.
How heavy of a ball do you throw?
14.
You got muscles? All right. Softball, right? All right, what position do you play?
Pitch.
Pitch? I pitch too. Fast pitch? Yep. Cool.
Well, then you'll be a good one for her to have a conversation with. We always tease that when she's pitching really good, she's bowling not so good. And
Yep.
Yeah.
I had that. I went through a year of that, and it was hard to get out of. And I had to choose pitching or bowling, and I chose bowling, obviously. But that's your call. It's
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I think she's at the age that she can balance them both, but it's
Yeah.
it's very funny when you her
You can
coach
see
will
it.
be
You
like,
can-
she's so on, and then she'll go practice, and my husband will be like, I don't know what she's doing. And, the other way around. So they definitely have an effect on each other.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it at first that it was affecting my bowling until I was like, I don't know what's going on. And my mom's like, well, you pitch. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I pick a different position. It's okay. Still good.
She might be able to balance both. I think once we figure out, the trigger of going back and forth, because it's such a similar motion, but it's completely different
at the same time
how you go about
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah. And I was pitching every day, so for you it might be a little different. I'm not sure exactly, but it wasn't.
I don't do it every day, but I bowl every day.
Sorry, ladies. We're about to wrap it up, so you guys want to say your goodbyes? And
Well, thank you for having
thanks.
us.
Yeah.
Glad we got a
Thanks,
opportunity.
Tavio.
Sweet.
absolutely.
Paul and Blair. Hopefully we did an okay job.
If you're watching from home, take note, practice, go to a qualifier,
Yep.
get out here. Great thing.
Commit. in
It's a
every
commitment.
way.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a commitment. I'm not going to make light of it, but you know, a commitment that you would definitely benefit from.
That's awesome.
And make sure you go out and get some new Storm and Rotor Grip balls.
Absolutely.
No rules, wreck it. Match Pearl, match.
All kinds
What
of
else
good
do we
things
got?
coming out. All kinds of good new ones.
Oh, and if you need a new spare ball, Rotor Grip will be coming out with a new spare ball here, so you can get that.
Good stuff. Lots of good stuff.
Yep. But all right.
Great.
Thanks everyone.
All right.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.